We had a bit of a one-way affair in favor of Wildcard for our first series, but this one coming up between Okami and Sinister, Dev, Marta, I do believe will be a lot closer.
I hope so. It should be on paper. And yeah, Sinister Okami, two strong teams vying for that fourth spot or potentially beyond. In contrast, Kanga Wildcard was the top team versus the bottom team. Spruce and the boys gave it their best. It was Wayne Man's send-off. That was fun. We're done with that. On to the serious business now.
Yeah, send off in a blaze of glory, going out on their own terms. Of course, for those at home, you got the socials down below. Get involved. We got the poll vote, which 69% of people were correct with their prediction of Wildcard taking that series. It was a little thought, but I'm actually very eager to see this poll vote for Okami versus Sinister, because last night we had a very close one. Dev, I think this one might be even closer.
Yeah. Look, we've seen a lot of overtimes from both of these teams in the Six Masters so far. Sinister, like you mentioned, Elevate close games. Knights close games as well, even against Wildcard. Okami, Ferox was 2 overtime maps. LFO was super close as well. Even these guys got pushed a bit by Kanga. So I totally think that Okami and Sinister are a good match, a very close match. I could definitely see a trade of maps here. Okami is the one on the upper hand. Sinister vying from behind, though, in terms of the standings.
Yeah, and I think for Okami's sake coming into this, they have, as you said, been into a couple of overtimes now, and I think they're going to want to try and turn their fortunes around. And it was what, Ferox 6A, LFO 7A, as we bring up their lineup. I would say if they can just turn their fortunes around that little bit, win a couple more of those 50-50 rounds, you give them a big chance here against Sinister. Clean things up. As you said, a lot of overtimes. 3 out of their last 3 maps have been in overtime. So, and considering how close we expect this series to go, I wouldn't be surprised if we have 1 or 2 overtimes tonight.
Totally. I'd love to see it. Love to see a close map. And in fact, we do have quite a few of the strong maps for these teams are good for both teams. So I'm really hoping that we get to see 2 maps which are strong picks for both teams, and they're really close. For Okami, you want to be keeping your eye on It Be Style, one of their primary entry fraggers. This man's always looking to make a play. So keep your eye on him when he's down for a flank or a cheeky little entry, and you won't be disappointed.
Over to Sinister, though, they've had a rough start in terms of the teams that they have played against. Elevate, Knights, Wildcard. They've really started at the high end, and now I guess they're going to slowly start working their way to the bottom end of the standings in terms of teams that they haven't played yet. Not really necessarily starting with Okami just yet, but this is going to be a big opportunity for them. They've played well against the likes of Knights and Elevate, obviously struggled against Wildcard, but who has... They have got a massive potential here to 2-0 or get 0-2'd or a draw. Anything can happen.
And you mentioned these guys playing against Wildcard. That was actually a really close game, and Sinister was very much close, and it was on the cards for them to take that one. Since then, they versed Elevate, which is the other team really up there against them at the moment. They managed to steal a map away from Elevate as well. It was Elevate's map pick on Border, so it's very much close matched teams. Sinister, a team for a long time that had some really deep underlying issues to do with their chemistry, and they made a few roster changes. They brought on the young gun of Molosca and Vinny, an experienced player formerly from the Elevate roster, and with this new layout for Sinister, they have looked really well, and I've been really impressed by them. I think this is their chance.
As we go into the map vetoes, one of the most banned maps for Sinister this season has been Consulate, the one after that, Theme Park. So what do you take out of the history from these two teams in terms of their picks and bans so far this season? I kind of get a sense that, Okami don't mind too much whether or not they're playing really any map just about, besides maybe Theme Park, which they have banned out the most.
Yeah, well, that's what I've got, an insta-ban from them so far in Six Masters. They banned it all 3 times, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that trend continue. And it is a risk for Okami here, because if they do leave Theme Park in there, Sinister is liable to pick it, as they did against Wildcard. For Sinister, I wouldn't be surprised if they get rid of one of TBD's good maps. Tough to say exactly which one that would be. Last time these two guys played each other in January, TBD won on Coastline, so maybe get rid of that one, but Who knows? Let's roll up the first two bans. And Clubhouse banned by Okami and Sinister get rid of Consulate, leaving Theme Park on the board, Xenox.
Surprise, surprise, Consulate ban from Sinister. Surprising no one there. I think the Clubhouse ban, though, from Okami is actually a bit of a surprise considering they haven't picked it or banned it this season. They've only played it once, which was against Ferox actually last week. So I guess just not wanting to deal with the things from Sinister, I guess. But yeah, look, a lot on the board here for probably both teams in terms of getting what they would feel comfortable on.
I think going into tonight, Sinister might have expected this Clubhouse ban. It is one of their best maps. They're currently a 6 wins and 1 loss record. They won Knights just 2 weeks ago. They lost it to Wildcard in a close 4-7 the week prior to that. And before that, they were actually undefeated for a really long time. There's lots of VODs on them, but Okami, they've played it just the once. You mentioned Ferox game, and since then, like they haven't played it since January, aside from that. So nice ban from Okami. And as you mentioned, Sinister, they always ban Consulate. Let's see the picks. Villa, a great map for both teams, and Kafe, a mixed result for both teams. This should get really good. This is going to be tight.
Yeah, a very interesting pick here. Okami figuring out the Villa. They did play it once so far this season against LFO 7-8, one of their overtime games, one of their many overtime games. So obviously feeling like they can be comfortable on that map, and maybe Sinister haven't been playing it too much in scrims. They certainly haven't played it this season of 6 Masters. And then the Kafe pick for Sinister is interesting too, because Okami have been playing really well on Kafe, and yet only once played this season from Sinister, which was their loss against Elevate last week.
Yeah, so for Sinister's perspective, this Kafe pick, right? They've got a lot of VODs on Okami, the 7-4 that they had against LFO, the 8-6 against Kanga. And for Sinister, there is that VOD of them playing it against Elevate, but if they've knuckled down since last week, they could definitely fix things up. And that was a 7-5, so they took Elevate really close as well. As for the Villa pick from TBD, this is one I'm super excited for. It's statistically a really strong map for both of these teams. That said, Sinister hasn't played it in 2 months, so a lot of VODs hidden. And Okami, when they recently played it against LFO, they lost it in a grueling 15-round 7-8, which was nuts. And up until that point, they were undefeated. So, I mean, I'm just so excited for Villa in particular, because I think this has the potential to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, that was actually the only time we've seen Villa this season. That was the only game, and well, it gave us a pretty good one, 7-8. We mentioned bloodbath. We mentioned so far that these two teams considered very equal footing going into these sort of maps. I mean, in terms of just your own prediction after now seeing the map pick ban phase, how do you feel this series is going to play out? I can't see anything but a draw here. But in terms of who wins what map, you can't split them.
No, it could totally go either way. Both of these maps, definitely a 50-50 chance from me here, Xenox. This is going to be a tight one.
Let's have a look at what you guys at home think in the poll vote. Do you think it's 50-50 as well? Just about 45% thinking Sinister going to come out on top, 20% for the draw, 35% thinking Okami. So look, not as close as last night, but still very, very close in terms of the poll vote.
Yeah, and hey, I'm actually a bit surprised to see the popularity vote go in the way of Sinister, because these two teams played each other in Pro League just last season. Okami won both of those maps 7-3 on Coastline and Villa. So, I don't know, a bit of favoritism maybe to Sinister due to having that fan base, popular American organization supporting them, whereas Okami, a bit of a lesser known brand. I think that the safe bet here would be Okami, just edging out.
Okay,
but I think what's most likely is we're going to see the draw. And hey, I would love to be proved wrong here. There's a lot of potential for both of these teams on these maps.
It certainly is. And I mean, I've already kind of said it here, obviously, that I think it's going to be a draw. I mean, that's my sort of prediction going into this series, especially after seeing those map picks too, that kind of just get that feeling maybe that Okami on Villa are going to feel comfortable enough that they've maybe learnt their lesson a little bit from that LFO series. They've got that VOD that they can watch over it, practice it, and that should get them the job done there. As I said, I can't split them here going into this series.
Yeah, no, tough one to call. But if we want to break down the maps a little bit further, I mean, heading to Villa first up, I mentioned how Sinister haven't played that in 2 months, and prior they beat Ferox, they beat Kanga and Knights in the Pro League last season on that map. That's a few of odds for Okami to go over, but there's a 2 months old, so almost maybe not even worth dwelling too much on, because Sinister could have really changed and reworked a lot of their strategies and playstyles on that map. As for TBD, they were undefeated on it. They beat some really strong, heavy-hitting teams, including Sinister, including Wildcard, and even Fnatic on Villa. So Okami, Villa was their playground up until they lost it against LFO just 2 weeks ago. And that does mean there's quite a lot of odds of Okami that Sinister can get behind. So on paper, this is a really good map for Okami, but if Sinister has done their homework, there are definitely weaknesses they can exploit here on Okami's own map pick.
And of course for Kafe as well. I mean, if you're picking it in it as well, regardless of the results that Okami have had. So I think it comes down to this Villa. This Villa map is going to set the tone for the series from the get-go. Sinister versus Okami, map pick Okami. We go into Villa first up, and we'll see whether or not they can respond on their own map pick here.
This was Okami's home turf for such a long time until they were met with a grueling 15-round series, which they lost to LFO, and now against Sinister. Likely to be a close one.
I hope it's going to be a close one. If it's not a close one, then I'll be disappointed, a little bit surprised as well, right? Especially after the series that we just had prior between Kangaroo and Wildcard. As we are back here, you can see our lovely faces. I do apologize that you have to look at us for a little bit longer, but going from a series that was so one-sided in every single way to a series where a lot of people are expecting this to go to that draw territory where it could go either way. You know, we mentioned Villa, Kafe. I think just touching back on what I was going to mention and maybe a bit more about Kafe is that Okami have actually played more Kafe than Sinister this season. So it really puts a lot of emphasis onto how Sinister kind of begin their attack here on Villa, or just playing on Villa. Because if they don't win this Villa, I think then Okami are going to feel very confident going into Kafe, maybe more than Sinister are confident going into Villa.
Yeah, it's a toughie, and I think a lot of this requires speculation from us about what these teams have been doing and behind the scenes to prepare for this. I think if I'm Sinister right now, I could have predicted that TBD would pick Villa. It is, on paper, TBD's best maps. That result goes back quite a long way. And expecting that Sinister wouldn't get to play Clubhouse because, I mean, at TBD, probably not as favored in that one. I can totally see Sinister expecting this to be picked out by TBD. So I think Sinister going into this, it should be pretty easy to predict they're going to play Villa, which means they're going to have spent all week at least practicing it, counter voting for. I keep saying TBD. It's Okami. I'm sorry. It's because in my spreadsheet I updated the name Okami, but not the logo, so I still got the TBD logo in here. And I'm sorry. I apologize. Bad dev. I think Sinister totally expect to be going to Villa here, and that gives them a huge advantage because they could have been practicing counter-stratting Okami all this time, which means that while on paper this is a great map for Okami, there's a huge potential for an upset from Sin.
And it almost is a bit of a contrast to Wildcard picking Coastline in our first series that we had earlier tonight, where you think Wildcard probably went into that and were ready for Coastline, whereas maybe Kanga weren't quite as ready for it, and whether that sort of bodes the same way here in this Villa pick. And I mean, we're speaking about it a lot because at the end of the day, it is actually only the second time that we're going to be seeing it here this season of Six Masters. The first time being that 7-8 battle against LFO, which could have easily gone either way. And I think you could say that for a lot of Okami's games over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. In fact, overtime on Kafe against Kanga, overtime against LFO on Villa, overtime against Ferox on Clubhouse, and then again on Coastline. So it's just been a non-stop grueling ride for Okami these days. They aren't getting through a series without really getting pushed. They have gotten that 2-0 against Kanga, and that's the only 2-0 they got so far. Other than that, it's all the 1-1s. So, I mean, in contrast, Sinister, they got the loss against Wildcard, the 2-0 against Knights, and then the trade of maps against Elevate. ends up with these guys on the same scoreline because they've both won 3 maps. Oh wait, no, sorry, TBD, Okami rather, have won an extra map. So, I'm just gonna keep saying TBD instead of Okami. I apologize.
No, you know, I believe in you. You can say it, Dev.
All right. Thank you, mate. Well, Sinister are the one fighting from behind here, fighting from lower on the standings, and if they can take the 2 maps here, that will leapfrog them above Okami, put them, if I'm not wrong, in 3rd place on the standings.
One of my notes that I've got here as well for Sinister is they like to play apparently a different map every series. They've played every map now, if we count Villa. Obviously, they haven't played it yet, but they're going to, except for Consulate, which they just keep insta-banning. So, I mean, I don't know if that just says they've got a really good map pool minus Consulate, or it just so happens that they're getting something a bit different every week. I'm not sure about that with Sinister. We'll have to ask them later, but it does say a little bit about their Consulate and how they do feel on that, and it's an insta-ban for a reason.
Must be. Not much info. They haven't played it since March on my stats. And even that, it was a game against Bazaar, which is not a pro-level team. They were playing in the LPL Pro Division, which is quite a different kind of scenario. Consulate, not something I expect to see from Sinister. So if you're going into this game, I think both teams should have been able to predict this ban phase. And that means both these teams probably would have predicted what maps were going to, which means they could have spent all week preparing. So I think this game is going to be, it's not like Spruce was saying about the first series, where it's like, we felt like playing theme park, so we picked it. No, this is totally the culmination of weeks of practice and counter voting and stratting out specifically for this matchup, for these maps. And I think that's going to prove to be quite a show.
Try to bring I guess maybe the topic away from the maps just for a moment, but moving forward to maybe some predictions on the ban phase coming up onto Villa, because Akami's operator ban phase has been Ying and Mirror. Literally their last 4 ban phases, they haven't diverted at all. And going into Villa, considering they've already banned Ying and Mirror last time that they played Villa, do we expect the same here again? I can't see why they would change it now.
Unless if Sinister has if Okami think Sinister have like a really specific operator that is a crutch for them and they want to ban that out, I expect that you're right, and Okami is just going to get rid of the Ying and Mirror like they did against LFO. But it's pretty difficult for Okami to be looking for things to counterban against Sinister when they haven't played this map in 2 months. And if you do go back and look at the VODs that are over 2 months old, try to counterban for those, there's no guarantee that the Sinister you're playing against today is going to be anything like that Sinister you played then. There's even been a roster change with Derpe on instead of Luna. So for TBD, probably just going to be those simple bans. For Sinister, who knows? Because they haven't played this map in forever. It could just be an operator that they like to ban outside of that.
Thatcher.
Yeah, I mean... If you're trying to do a trivia on what operator's going to get banned, it's always a safe bet to just say Thatcher.
Yeah. I mean, for this season especially, like, I think you'd be very comfortable if you're like Ying, Mirror, Thatcher, Echo, or something like that as your 4, I guess, in total. But we should be heading back into the game very, very shortly. Appreciate you all sticking around and listening to Dev call Okami TBD about 6 times.
So, TBD coming into this game. Oh, sorry. That was too far, Xenox. Okay, I'm sorry. I think... Hey, don't leave me again, please. Don't leave me again. All right, Thatcher ban from Sinister, Ying ban from Okami, everything going to plan so far. Likely going to see the Mirror ban here from Okami. And for Sinister, I wouldn't be surprised to see them get rid of the Clash. It's something that we saw LFO counterban against TBD, specifically Mangoes, who's a really good Clash player. So, they lock it in nice and quick. Surely it's that Clash. There you go.
Oh, look at that.
Perfect. We just
redeemed yourself, Dev.
Thanks, mate. We just did 100% prediction of this ban phase. Can we just do like an ISO high five?
An ISO. I was going to say just like a pat on the back. We can just put each other on the back, but you know, I can just randomly put my hand into the air, I guess, and digitally high five you.
Do that. Yep. Yeah, no, I just high five my monitor. So a bit more context for that
start this off, though.
Okay, I'll talk the Clash. So Mango's on defense. He's kind of known for it on this map. Nice way to get that out of the way. It's a really good operator, can force some choke points nicely, especially if Sinister decides to bring that Montaigne that we've seen Fisher experiment with every now and then. But nonetheless, that'll be for the second half because Sinister start on the defense here.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Okami, not TBD. I'm going to be starting on the attack then, of course. So this is their map pick. This is something that they've played more recently than Sinister. Coming into the attacking phase, you've got to feel confident, and I guess this is where you go to the playbook and think, what have we got written up here for our attack? Watch to the VODs, how we were playing against LFO, things we can maybe change, tweak, and potentially surprise Sinister.
10 seconds left.
Bringing that Hibana as the exclusive hard breach. No Maverick, no Thermite. No wall denial, in fact, at all from Sinister. A bit funny thinking that you've banned out the Thatcher and yet you're not going to bring even a Mute. No Mute, no Qayyid, no Bandit. So despite that Thatcher ban being there, it's not going to be super relevant for Okami for opening up these walls. And that Thatcher ban for Sinister, you think, must be simply to enable these ADSs, Wamais, and Maestros, the Evil Eye cameras. I think it is a bit of a missed opportunity, though, from Sinister. Could have just brought one wall denial operator, just force Okami to go that extra length.
I'm very intrigued to see how this is going to play out, though. We haven't got a whole lot of Villa this season. Keep touching on it, but does mean to, I guess, in some cases at times, maybe expect the unexpected. Hippie style, the entry fragger for Okami. Just going to try and see what we can find from the veranda. This is decent, though. 2 minutes, already pretty close proximity to the bomb site as well. We can have so much time to just try and clear everything out. Take out these cameras as well. Potentially, I think, also trying to get rid of those potential Valkyrie cameras in the bookcase.
And that's super good time management. I think that explosive on the bookcase was to take out a Evil Eye. Look at this. Time efficiency is insane from Okami. Half the round gone. They've already opened up some angles towards Bard and eliminate that position. Fisher guy does find that first kill, though, and that's all the hard reach you're going to get.
Well, time was looking good for them. And push was looking good for them. Fortunately, though, losing Mangoes, Joker still holding a very similar position as to what he was 40-50 seconds ago means that Sinister have at least just held firm, haven't panicked. Playing on-site defensive. Air jab sent out from Cutie, and then going to repel away. Hippie style is the closest. Hippie style's in a position to maybe just find someone from Sinister who rotates through the bomb site.
These Hibana holes that have been created are not entryways. Just little holes that Okami can use, but it does make it difficult. If they want to get onto site, they're still going to have to funnel through those doorways. 30 seconds left, still a 4-on-5. Sinister have a lot of very strong positions. Cutie was the man to try and go for the flank, but he's shut down. If his style finds an entrance onto the bomb site, and it might be the end of the road. Another one for Joker peeking on in. He finds it, but Nico gets another. All on Joker now. All right, 2K. Gotta find two more. He's not around, can't get that last one.
Yeah, no, this wasn't going to happen. Didn't have the diffuser. And there was almost no reason for Sinister to really push out. Interesting round, though, to start off. Both at various points showing proficiency here. Good start, quick push from Okami. But then that stall. Not a lot of movement either on the Star. In the end, that worked out well. You got to think the Hibana opening up those positions and the sight lines, but Sinister not playing into that, not really rotating on site, not moving a lot, made it a lot harder for Okami to find early picks.
Losing that Hibana was pretty crucial there, not having an avenue to actually enter the bomb site. Plus a good hold from Nico with 2 kills.
Protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
And now that's a rotate back to move up the bomb site. Bring that mute here. To try and deny these walls. Cade and Mute, in fact. With that Thatcher ban, this should be quite difficult. In fact, if Sinister chucks some Mute Jammer static on this wall, likely we'll see Jack Daddy go downstairs, take control, and destroy the Mute Jammer, but then you still have the opportunity for Vinny to Kaid trick, as it's known, where you throw that Kaid device onto the wall as soon as the Hibana pellets are deployed.
10 seconds remaining.
And that electrical should activate before the Hibana pellets detonate.
5 seconds to go.
In fact, quite a bit of presence downstairs here. Valkyrie cameras as well to enable this roam from Sinister. I don't want to give it up without a fight.
We didn't really see Sinister playing too aggressive in the first round, pushing out. Opened up a few different angles, but for the most part, roaming wise, it was kept close to the bomb site. Expect to see probably something similar here again. And Okami, considering how quick they were able to sort of collapse around the site, 2-minute mark roughly at that time. Not sure if that's going to happen here again though. So adapt and change is going to have to be the way for Okami in the second round. Pushing potentially a little bit slower, but be a bit more cautious. Jacked out on that first floor, as he said, trying to take out the Mute Jammer.
He's really enabling his teammates here to drone up ahead and take control. It's not just a Mute Jammer, but some other kind of utility there as well. Might have been a Wamai disc. Jack also has to be cautious of these roamers on the first floor. And the basement, of course. He spots out that player rotating on the bomb site. Joker makes an entrance here, takes out that Mute Jammer. Now his teammates can drone ahead as he's cautious of the angles towards landing. Mangoes also makes a rotation to take control of the master bedroom. Likely to open up angles into the A bomb site. But he's got Molosca to deal with. There's a lot of presence still.
Attackers recovered the
But Sinister have actually vacated the ground floor. There's just Nico roaming all the way down at the bottom. The rest of them are on site. Molosca gets droned out and he relocates, but still going to hold on to Master as long as possible, as the rest of Okami do start to make their way along from the south side of the map.
attackers have
A lot more to
located
clear
bombs.
out this round as well for Okami compared to the first round. That's why it's taking them a bit longer here to get towards the bomb site. They're here now though. Ippy start or spots the gun. It should be an easy kill. Just wants to find the extra bit of angle. Does get Fisho Guy. This is different to what we saw in round one though. Okami get the opening frag this time. About a minute and 20 seconds left on the clock compared to that first round, but it's working better this round. So even though there's only 40 seconds left, they're going to be happy with the way this is playing out. Molosca through the soft wall, takes a bit of damage, has a small hole. But it's not enough to find a frag queue to get just a double kill from the window onto Molosca and Vincio as they were both rotating on site, and Okami have played this extremely well. Start to finish, they're going to be able to tie things up 1-1.
Activating the diffuser.
How many can Nico take with him, I wonder? His roam downstairs proved to be ineffective, as funnily enough, Sinister didn't, oh sorry, rather Okami didn't try to take that downstairs control underneath him. There's a nice shot onto Itby, but fully flashed. Itby says nice shot, but Okami won't let him live for long. That's Jack Dad. Good round for Okami. Came out of nowhere, but it just goes to show taking control of that study, moving in from 90 hallway and finding picks onto these players on site really does enable an opening, and that coupled with Cutie playing on the Astro window, cutting off anyone inside of Astro, trying to rotate back onto site. Spell death for Sinister on that defense, and they won't dwell too hard on it. They'll move on to Kitchen Trophy. Keep rotating these bomb sites. Pardon me, Kitchen Dining Room.
I mean, you could put your trophy cabinet in the dining room if you want.
You could, but it would be a bit confusing since there's already another bomb site with a trophy room.
Big speak Valkyrie for Tepe. Instead of the Maestro.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as
The thing
many
about the
bombs as
Valkyrie
they
is
can.
Jack Daddy is really good at using that IQ scanner to locate utility and take it out. He's very thorough. Spends a lot of the first half of the round with that electronics detector out. So hopefully if Jack's doing his job, he'll be able to spot out these Valk cams and they'll prove to be ineffective. But for
Bombs
Sinister,
located by attackers.
it's really about not just the information gathering, but the information denial. The Mute and the Mozzie and the Castle, all of which help to deny information and slow down the attackers.
I'm not surprised though of the first 2 rounds, considering how we predicted this series to go. But would you say that for Sinister, this is more important that they win Villa? That to give them that chance going into Cafe? Obviously, where I feel like maybe they got a less of an advantage, right? You kind of feel like on Villa, Okami have got that just slightly more advantageous map prowess, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Tough call. I thought this was a strong map for both teams, but Sinister hadn't played it as much. And that means they've got the VODs to watch of Okami, and surely that'll help them out. In terms of stakes, though, going into Cafe, a bit of rocky territory for both teams. They've had mixed performances. I feel like Sinister definitely has a possibility here to take Okami's map pick of Villa, and that's huge because as soon as you take the opponent's map pick, opens you up to get that 2-0. Just got to clinch out your own map pick.
It's great for the team morale as well, going into that next map. The other thing as well, when you have a best of 2 series, when you win that first map, you know in the back of your mind, we can't lose this series at least. Worst case, they take the second map and it all just goes squared 1-1. So you can play with that extra bit of confidence and freedom in that second map. Cutie's got to be careful in this window. Gets tagged up just a little bit. A minute and a half remaining in this 3rd round now. Okami have looked decent at times on attack. But so is Sinister on defense. And both continuing to live up to the bill for this fight, this battle between these 2 teams. It's quite even.
All the players from Sinister who were holding on to that top floor, they jumped down. Over half the round taken away. Took Kami quite a long time to clear that. And Fisher guy downstairs in Memorial. Molluska all the way on the bottom floor on a roam. But there is a possibility here for Fisher, Derp, and Nico to get C4 kills through the floor. Joker's running on in. We'll look to Jack Daddy to try to suppress any of the information gathering from Sinister and ensure that those C4s don't connect. But it does, and that's Derpe. One under Style, some good utility lost, and one of the key entry fraggers for Okami.
Yeah, exactly. AP Style's been the man that's been opening up a lot of the, well, entries for Okami, pushing in first. Down that opening frag at the last round. Not having your entry fragger, but just also now being at a disadvantage with only 25 seconds remaining. Not a lot of control on that first floor either below them. It's going to have to be either drop down or a quick jump out the window, go down to the first floor. Flashbang from Joker is able to get Nico though. Fisher guy was also taken out by Mangoes above. Now onto the site goes Joker. This is not bad at all from Okami, even in the dying seconds as they look to clinch it. 2 versus 2. Derpe and Vince though were able to at least get trade backs. 2 seconds, got to stick to plant though, does Mangoes. Jack Dad gets Vince, he's going to find another one onto Derpe. Last second reprieve for Okami, they win the 3rd round. Oh, in the jaws of defeat.
Was that a 4v5 with 20 seconds left? And just some huge kills from Okami, one after the other. And not to mention Jack Daddy right at the end there to find the last 2 while Mangoes was planting. Fantastic stuff to see coming out from Okami. That's going to keep Sinister guessing here, and they'll move straight back onto Aviator Games. That bomb site that they won in the very first round and haven't seen victory since then. Okami just seemed to be too good, even in the most dire of circumstances.
A lot of that, though, goes to Joker pushing in, playing that entry frag, a role that usually Ippy style probably is going to generally do, at least for the rest of this series. Finds 2 kills early on. Mangoes was able to get 1 too, and then that just opens the door right up for Okami. Evens things, even though there was a couple of trade backs from Sinister. Still, 25 seconds, a 4v5. Sinister have been playing well on defense, and you kind of back them in, I guess, with that time remaining. Time and time again, we see it. Sometimes you leave things to the last second. It can still work. As long as you hit your shots, win those 1v1s, win those duels, pre-fire a couple of corners, get maybe a little bit lucky, and the round can still be yours. And Okami show that. Never give up, even towards the end, no matter how a round is looking.
For Sinister, that's the second time we've seen them really try to push this deep Roma strategy, and the second time it's been completely ineffective. On their stat and trophy defense, they had Nico hanging out all the way on the bottom floor ready for a flank, and the site cleared and he was left alone to clutch. That round we had Molosca hanging out all the way downstairs, and he's still yet to find a frag in this map. Ineffective so far, but of course, if we recall back, Sinister did win this Aviator Games Room defense fairly convincingly. They found the first pick onto the hard breacher, and well, Okami ended up just funneling through these choke points. After some successful attacks onto the other bomb sites, I think Okami is ready to give this bomb site another crack.
When you say that, I mean, yeah, they won the round, but Okami didn't look horrible either on Aviator and Games. They were very quick to clear a lot of the rooms around the bomb sites, get to decent position, but they lost those essential jewels. Lost too many players. Ended up stalling from about the 2-minute mark to about the minute 10 mark, and by which point Sinister were able to find a couple of frags. And I think that was the round that Habana died too. Well, there is no Habana in this round either, so I guess need it the first time, won't need it the second time.
I think the substitution here for the Thermite's a nice one, but be careful. That Thermite is vulnerable to C4s and impact tricks as well, even more so than the Habana. But Okami has made great progress so far, clearing out that position top brown where we saw Vinny attempted to play. His Lamai Magnets didn't save his shield. Is there going to be an impact trick here? There is. Great job from Sinister to deny that hard breach. There's only one Thermite charge left. On the other side is Derpe trying to impact trick it, and he gets it again. That's all the hard breach denied. Sinister working so nicely, and off the back of that, Okami trying to find an entry, but two fall. 1 minute left. Okami can't get a grip.
It's almost a replica of that very first round. Havana couldn't get any breach off either, and this time Mango's on the Thermite, gets tricked twice and cannot open anything up. This forces Joker, Jack Dad, Cutie now to funnel through these doorways, which are going to be watched. 4 members of Sinister remaining. Jack Dad with the red stairs, but just to his left is one. Needs to speed it up though. Only 35 seconds remaining. He can get this one though, surely. No. Oh, changed his angle at the last second. That was less than ideal. Molosca gets Jack Dad, but Joker got Vince. 2 versus 3. Joker's low though. Peek around to the right-hand side. Cutie's going to finish off Molosca after Joker did most of the damage. 20 seconds. Now it's a 2 versus 2.
Clutchable, but not if Dirtbear has something to say about it. He's been the man of the hour. This round, it's a 1v1. Cutie versus Derp, and he's going to run away. Maybe use the Evil Eyes to deny this plant. All on Cutie. Let's try to force this down. The Evil Eye, can it save the round? Indeed, it's going to make it happen. No way Cutie can do this. He's got information. He's got to stick this plant for the 7 seconds, but the Nomad charge might clutch it out. No way.
May or may not, but it just gives Cutie an opportunity. Both so very low, just sitting behind the bar. Cutie wins it. Are you serious? What a round win for Okami. Oh. My God.
He stuck a 7-second plant while the timer was at 0-0. Derpe, he wasn't confident that he could find the angle with the Evil Eye. I feel like maybe if he's stuck on the camera there, he could have denied the plant using the laser, but he thought he would be better off just pushing up. And if only it wasn't for that air jab, that 100% was a Sinister win.
Just horrible timing as well. And it's not like it was an immediate win though. Cutie still had to do the job thereafter, but it just at least gave him that opportunity. 3-1 now on the scoreline, and yet this has been extraordinarily close in these games, both ways, back and forth. I mean, the first round itself could have even gone Okami's way. So since Sinister need to make sure they don't lose their head after a round loss like that, they've got to just keep believing in themselves, draw one back, make it 3-2, then try and tie the half up 3-3. That's their goal now. 3-3 at the half's not so bad here on Villa, considering the lack of playtime, at least in the competitive environment.
But it's just gotta hurt after losing a round within reach like that. You've got to feel huge for Cutie right now as well. Sticking that plant and those air jabs working wonders. He also won it with the pistol in the end. And that pistol, the Magnum with the ACOG on it, it's so hard in those close range engagements and there's so much recoil. It just bounces all over the place. The cutie stuck it. He had that confidence and it worked out. So
Attackers have
that's
located
really
a
going to
bomb.
give Okami a confidence booster here going into this next bomb site. In fact, it's a repeat of Aviator Games. Sinister, they've won it once. They just lost it on a clutch. Surely they can make it happen.
I think this is the wise decision, though. You don't really gain too much information in terms of, you know, losing it the round like that in that sort of fashion, in the sort of clutch scenario down to the final moments, final plays. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad sign for them. They've already won a round on it as well. So it's a redo now for Sinister, make it 3-2, and just hope that they can be a little bit more clinical in the round. I mean, Akami still played from a deficit that round. It's not as if it was Akami's round to win and Sinister were playing from behind. Akami did lose a player early and then they had to do a lot to get back. Cutie
Oh,
finds
wow.
Fisho Guy, and while that's actually one of the first times we see Akami now get that opening frag. Usually it's the other way around.
While it might look like on paper, Akami's actually doing really well. They've struggled with a lot of this utility. Eventually, finally, they do take out the shield. Really gave them some struggle clearing out those ADSs and 1 charges, but they've already wasted 1 Hibana pellet on that 90 repel. Mango's tried to open up some angles on these west side walls near where Ippy Style is right now, but he failed. Akami just abandoned that thermite completely after it failed so miserably thanks to the impact trick in the previous round. Now they're going to try get these study walls open. That's 1 sizzling away. Last one left, trying to be put it on the walls towards Bar from top brown. Jack Daddy removes the mute jammers, and Mango successfully gets these Hibana charges off.
And typically, the way that Sinister have been playing Aviator in games as well is usually just sitting on site. Not a lot of roaming, not really even just sort of running out of a room and peeking down the corridor, trying to find a frag. Cutie sitting on that window. Nico, though, does go down red stairs. Not sure what the plan is there. Probably just come back up immediately, and does. But it does mean that numbers advantage as Akami look to push in. Oscar does get Cutie, though, who was still sitting on that window for quite a while. The run through Vince now gets Ippy Style. I'll take it all back. Now they've made their push. They've elected, instead of sitting back, let's be on the offense and be a bit aggressive here. Maybe catch Akami off guard. Maybe catch them sleeping. It's worked 4 versus 1. Only Jack Dad remains. Well, that just turned in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, Vinny was nuts there. 3K. Retaking study as soon as he'd taken out that player of the Ash peeking onto him. Really great work, not just from him, but Sinister as a whole. What we missed off camera was Molosca pushing up towards 90 to take on Cutie. A really difficult engagement to win. It might have been that he timed it with Cutie repelling in the window, so he had that sound cue and knew where to pre-fire, but that was just the start of things getting the ball rolling for Sinister. And thankfully, they do make this scoreline a bit closer and save themselves the embarrassment of that previous clutch from Cutie.
Is it
One
really
more
that
round on the
embarrassing, though?
defense.
I don't think it was
It was.
embarrassing. It was just a really, really good clutch from Cutie.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Chance, though, to make this 3-3 for Sinister back on the cards after winning that round. And for Akami, even if it does go 3-3, Dev, I don't think they would be too upset. It's been close. Some rounds just went their way. You know, of course, the Cutie clutch. If it does end up 3-3 here, I think for their sake, attacking-wise, they're probably still happy going into the half.
Extension from Sinister here once again.
10
Putting
seconds to
reinforcements
insertion.
and mute jammers over towards the study side and Aviator and Games. Mute jammers here to prevent any droning at the top
Attackers are
brown
moving out to
stairs.
locate a
Molosca
bomb.
putting an ADS to help any player who wants to hold inside of Aviator for a little while. Kami previously took control of this half of the map quite handily. Sinister fell back as soon as they felt the pressure. Perhaps they're going to hold on a little bit longer this time.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Well, it was the timing of the run from Vince that caught Akami off guard. It's not like Sinister have been playing super aggressively early on in these rounds. And I think that's what caught Akami off guard, caught them napping a little bit. Mangoes and Jack just clearing over from this east side of the A-bomb site. And that's the thing, it's the nature of the surprise factor too. If you only do it every now and then, or if you do it at a very strange time, you really can catch teams off.
Running out downstairs. Okami just trying to figure out situation. Likely going to push in. Maybe Jack Dad.
Bomb located by attackers.
Drone gets away from Mangoes. Nice job. Okami actually mainly just leveraging this master bedroom push this time around. Got to be careful of the C4s, but Jack Daddy is downstairs, so no reason for Mangoes to be concerned about that for now. Jack Daddy spotted that electric claw, but struggling to shoot it. Has he finally got it yet? As soon as that goes down, Mangoes is likely to put it back on, but put the Hibana pellets on, but Vinny can try to trick this as well. It's a pretty easy trick to get off. He might even have a C4 as well. I think Jack's really struggling to shoot this electric claw.
Running out of time now as well, 1 minute remaining. It doesn't really mean too much though. I mean, Okami won one of their rounds, pushing in very late at the last second. This though does make it a bit more difficult, losing 2 players with a minute remaining. And make that a third one as Fisher Guy will be able to get Ippy style. Sinister. It was back and forth over the first 3 rounds, but these last couple definitely going their way for the most part. Minus just 1 cutie clutch. Sinister's last 3 rounds have been quite formidable on defense. 30 seconds left, and well, as we are going into the half after this round, Jack Dad, cutie, may as well just throw everything they got, throw the whole kitchen sink here at Sinister and have a crack and see if they can find something. Very unlikely though.
Yeah, tough spot for Q to be into. Player sitting in the bathtub. Who is that? Who's having a bath right now?
The attacker's bomb diffuser
Is that
has been
Molosca?
dropped.
Is that Molosca having a bath right there? It is.
It is.
He's going to find one. Vinny to close it out. But yeah, I mean, Molosca is just showing why. I mean, that was a very clean play. Yeah, you know what I mean? Clean.
Hey man,
clean
when it's bath time, it's bath time. Yeah, it's clean. Just trying to dry off cutie there. 3-3 though, and then look, going back to our pre-game discussion, this definitely backs up a lot of the stuff we were talking about in terms of how close these 2 teams are, how close Villa played out last time as well with LFO, that going 7-8, and the way that this is playing out right now, I wouldn't be surprised if we see something similar in terms of that sort of scoreline.
All right, Sinister on the attack now, and they've made a bit of a comeback here. Recomposing really well after that clutch against them that Cutie got. It didn't seem to phase them because they came straight back with 2 rounds. Okami on the flip side struggled with those last 2 attacks. On to stat trophy there, they couldn't deal with the players from Sinister. I really like the reads we saw from Sinister on that defense. They knew that Jack Daddy, the IQ, was below trying to get rid of that electric claw. They sent 2 players to go hunt him. Not only did they find Jack, but they found Joker while it was happening. They also managed to retake the master bedroom too. But now we're even at the half, and it's Akami's turn to jump on the defense. The Frost, pretty unusual pick to many people, but I mean, it has its validity. And if you're trying to prevent people from jumping in windows without looking down to shoot the Frost mat, that's how you do it. You bring the Frost. And it just goes to show that Okami is really going to invest heavily in this master bedroom hold, more specifically in the closet itself. Mute jammers, Frost mats, a deployable shield. No doubt there's a few ADSs in there. In fact, all 3 ADSs, and with the Thatcher ban, that's going to be difficult to burn. Mangoes with the shotgun and the SMG-LF, and you couldn't really ask for a better kit to hold this position. And if anyone from Sinister just tries to jump in, they're going to have to shoot the Frost mats before they try and shoot Mangoes.
It's like, what, 2 mute jammers, 2 frost mats, 3 ADSs. That is a lot of utility from the gadgets being used in that one room. But it does show the emphasis and the idea that Okami feel that is going to be a significant room to hold, and Mangoes can hold, and has a good sightline from there as well. Sinister sniffing around that position as well.
I'm sure what a lot of people would say is, why don't you just ignore this side of the map? Well, you can't. There's a heavy investment from the defense on the other side as well. Doing his best to waste these ADSs. This Molosca. Fisher guy could try to Ash charge these Frost Mats. Ooh, I think that'll get both of them right there. Very nice stuff, and indeed, both the Frost Mats are gone. Smart move from Sinister, clearing the utility very effectively. Milo's going to send his drone in. I wonder if that got the Mute Jammer with that Ash charge. It must have. I spotted Mangoes there, but a bit of a sitting duck at the moment. I think he's probably still got some ADSs to support him, but not a lot else.
I think there's one. No, there's 2 ADS left. Both Mute Jammers did get taken out. And as he called out, both of the Frost Mats too. Mangoes will sit there though with the shotgun, expecting at some point someone's going to want to push through here, and that shotgun up close. Never mind, SMG. Mangoes will get Fisho guy. Oh, just for a second, the peak from Mangoes. Nico's on 1 health. As close as I guess you can get to 1 health.
No. Derp gets caught in the Frost Mat. He gets another one as well, just with the finish there. Just Derp left bleeding out, and Vinny to clutch it. Oh, such a rough position, but Vinny finds one more. 1v2 essentially now, as Mangoes is injured.
May as well take the free kill while it's sitting there. Triple. Oh, just as soon as he peeks, he's gone to the position waiting for him. But that was a very chaotic round in a nutshell. Love the nice shot.
Yeah, NS, well deserved. It was a cool strat from Okami. Pretty well counted for the most part by Sinister in terms of clearing that utility. Got rid of the Frost Mats nicely. Notwithstanding Derp forgetting about that Frost Mat in bathroom. Bit of an oversight there. But aside from that, Fisho and Molosca did a pretty good job of clearing the utility in the closet, but the problem is they just still ended up just running into a man with a shotgun at close range, and you're not going to win that. And they didn't even try to refrag it directly. So,
Defenders, protect your
calm strategy working out.
Attackers.
And a decent round to win as well for Okami, considering Sinister had won the last 2 rounds prior. Turned things around momentum-wise after that QD clutch. So Okami don't allow Sinister to continue that snowball to roll on here on Villa. 3-4, they get an edge a little bit closer towards match point. I don't sense that they're going to want to go to another overtime here on Villa. They didn't work out for the last time, 7-8 against LFO.
5 seconds to go.
And for Sinister, obviously won't have to worry about the Frost Mats this time around. Different experience here. So we move to Aviator in games.
We might not have Frost anymore. We've got the castle, which is still pretty unusual for this bomb site. Trying to, I suppose, just waste as much utility as possible. Also an extension all the way over towards the other bomb site that we typically see, Stat and Trophy. It be Style and Joker are going to play there for the most part. Castle barricade protecting the B bomb site from angles from Study. Where's that first Ash charge going off? I think that was on the... oh, okay, maybe not. I'm not sure where it was exactly. Looks like Nico is going to try to open up these walls. He finds the first kill, I suppose. That's Cutie gone down. A couple nades thrown up from below. Clear out some default positions. Shoot any electricals on the wall.
Similar to Akami's attack here, I guess. What we're seeing from Sinister, a lot of time just being spent trying to clear out these rooms and these gadgets and making sure that they can actually utilize the Hibana. Mango's, though, in an aggressive position, I think, on the Wamai, from what I can gather here.
Still struggling to actually get into Study, though. I haven't cleared this position at top round. Nico finds another one. That's Jack gone down. Well, my spotted on the stairs, and Nico's looking for that as well. Very much a vertical bottom-up take for Sinister, clearing that position at Brown without even having to destroy the shield, in fact. Vinny spots out how many ADSs there are on that shield, 2 ADSs. And Fisher got no hesitation to push up. Sinister, while they haven't opened many avenues onto the bomb site, they've taken some great ground and are ready to start teaching these angles on the choke points.
Not just the ground, but obviously taking Cutie and Jack Dad away from this. So 5v3, just playing this very carefully. Don't want to lose any members. Nico takes a lot of damage without dealing any back. Mango's Joker and Ippy style just sit on site. They would, I guess, tried to buy as much time as possible. And while they've been able to achieve that, 20 seconds took Sinister a lot of time to clear all of these rooms out. Now they're going to make their push. They'll have the numbers advantage. That's going to pay out. They can send 2 in, try and trade 1-for-1. Fisher guy gets Ippy style for free. Doesn't even lose his life for us. Moloska's going to go for plant. Joker gets Nico. That's all low. And think that from here on very little health, Mangos isn't going to achieve much. And Vince picks up the double kill. Sinister get one back.
Yeah, right. That was explosives from Sinister. They didn't open up any angles onto the bomb site using Hibana pellets. I guess it didn't matter. They managed to file in through the choke points quite happily, and part of that was Nico finding those first 2 picks really helped the numbers advantage into those late rounds. Also, you would have seen how much droning Sinister did in the mid to late round to find out all of the positions of these Okami players. Really helped out in the latter half of pulling together some extra frags, finding those entries, exposing those anchors. And now we're pretty much even on the scoreline, 4-4. Okami need to start moving around these bomb sites and figuring out one that they can stick with. Might be Kitchen. After this round, of course, they can retry that trophy defense that was successful earlier.
Well, we didn't exactly get a whole lot of close matches last night. 7-5 was the closest. LFO and Knights on Kafe. You said last night you were a bit of a betting man at times, Dev. I think we can both agree.
Not
this
literally.
Is likely to... no, not literally, but I'd bet that this one might just go a little bit closer than 7-5.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see the overtime. But it does boil down to whether Okami can find more than one bomb site they can defend successfully. It is early days, of course, but their unorthodox strategy to defend the Aviator games just wasn't quite it. Sinister had a very well-organized attack, very efficient. For Okami, as we mentioned, moving over, and wow, Sinister have so much ground downstairs. This is essentially a rush here. But these castle barricades will force Sinister to telegraph their push by using utility to destroy them.
Bomb located by attackers.
Maybe Okami will be able to rotate based off of that information.
Aggressive from Vince there. Jeez. Just the door. He doesn't have a soul. Nice information
Good
found
info
though from Jack Dad on the pulse. Yeah. 2 minutes remaining, a lot of time. A lot of movement from both teams, in fact. Sinister playing this one a little bit differently this round, with Vince being super aggressive.
Nico flanking around downstairs, potentially to come up pantry. What is the play here for Sinister? Looking to get onto the bomb site nice and easy without clearing that top floor. Oh, Fisher is going to take a bit of damage from above and gets peeked from China. Good start from Joker. What is this setup from Okami? I'm just persistently confused by this. Nico pushing upstairs. There was a camera on him, but Mango still doesn't get the call apparently. And that's Nico just coming in and sprinting up past a default camera and still managed to clear top floor nice and easy.
Well, it hasn't been an easy round for either team. 1 minute left, 3v3. Jack Dad low. Drone out from Derpe. Another late drone. Some of the last before placed. Although Jack Dad now loses his target. There was someone who just ran by. Loses him for the time being. 43 seconds left. Sinister on the aggression. They're pushing away Cutie. Jack Dad, Joker. Seeing if they can find anyone that's roaming around. Although with only 30 seconds left, time for Sinister to probably head straight towards the bomb site shortly. Derpe does find Jack Dad down below.
Pushing in from Laundry now. 2 players trying to make an avenue onto the bomb site. Likely a mute jammer. Oh, surely not. The player in China looking the wrong way. Takes a bit of damage. Nico trying to close this one out. Milo fakes that plant. A C4 comes out, doesn't find its target. Nico has to cover.
Cutie.
It's all on him. And it's not going to happen. Okami just barely, thanks to Cutie, win that round. A bit of a shake of the head there. What a clutch there from the Valk.
And for the second time in this series, on this map for Cutie, 4v5, well, 4-5 now, but of those 5, 2 of them thanks to Cutie single-handedly.
Was a bit of a late and desperate push there from Sinister. That said, especially not being able to get that wall open, not having the utility to clear that mute jammer at the end of it. But yeah, as you mentioned, Cutie really put a stop to any hope they had. Now Stat Trophies back on the menu for Okami. It's unlocked. It's been 2 rounds since they won it. Looks like they'll be running with the same strat. We'll see Cutie and Itby style roam across on the Games and Aviator side. We'll see Jack Daddy and Itby style plant all of the utility in the closet for Mangoes to chill with. I don't think that the frost mats are going to be super effective though. We saw how easy it was for Fisher Guy to clear that with the Nash charge last time.
10 seconds left before
I
insertion.
think do you move those mute jammers though? It hasn't placed them there, so maybe just maybe other
Attackers
Oh,
must
there is a
locate
mute.
and defuse
He's
the
chucking it down
bomb.
now.
has changed it slightly positioned because of the way that it was positioned last time they set this up. It was very easy for Depe to actually get both frost mats and both mute jammers. Single shot. Yeah, it has changed it up now.
There's also only 2 ADSs there instead of the full 3 that Itby style placed there in the previous time. Wonder if Itby has another place that he really wanted, or whether he thought, oh, maybe it's not as effective. But if Mangoes does get actually flashed out after those ADSs are burned, it could mean that Sinister can take control of Closet without losing a player to Mangoes.
Bomb located by attackers.
They still have to commit a lot though. They're still got to clear out those frost mats. It worked out really well for Okami last time, and if it does work out well for
Attackers
them
drop the
again,
diffuser.
6-4 would be on the
Attackers
cards.
recover
This
the
is a very important round for Sinister. And maybe you said that you need to push
What?
through Closet, losing Fisher Guy. Maybe they might just have to avoid it.
Where was that? Oh, downstairs through the hatch? I really don't know, but Mangoes wasn't playing in that position in the closet. In fact, have they completely abandoned the closet after all that utility? Oh, okay, through the floor, through a pre-placed pole in Astro at the top of the stairs. Fisher Guy caught out downstairs. It's funny that Mangoes actually decides to keep roaming downstairs. I feel like if now he rotated back and played in that closet position, Sinister would be short on utility and wouldn't be able to clear him out.
I mean, that's of course if they go for a closet position.
Oh my.
Derpe swings in. Derpe
Oh,
The attackers
looking
bomb
straight
diffuser has
into the
been
sight lines of Jack Dad. No, you're not getting up. You're going to stay down. Cutie puts him down. This round in favor of Okami. Although Vince is able to at least tie it up. 2-2. Nade in hand for Nico as well. Bounce that off of the right-hand pillar. No, it doesn't quite catch Joker or Cutie, depending on who he was aiming it towards. Diffuser on the ground. A lot of time, though, still to be played. 45 seconds. And, well, this is a very crucial 45 seconds remaining.
it was super ambitious for Nico and Derp, or rather Vinny and Derp, to try to control Astro like that, but
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
partly paid off. As you mentioned, 2 versus 2. Vinny just waiting for one of these Okami players to reveal themselves as Nico rotates up red. There's a lot of angles for Nico to check, and he finds the kill. All on Joker here. Plant gonna get stuck by Vinny, but Nico's so low on HP, and that's the peek from Joker. Surely Vinny doesn't get it, but he does. Turns around off the plant and finds Joker's head. Sinister tie this up once again.
Man, taking out Cutie though, the clutch king of Villa so far tonight. And then Joker trying to replicate Cutie's heroics, comes up short thanks to Vinny. 5-5. Next round gets match point. So this breakpoint sort of round now, Dev, for both of these two teams. Aviator and Games, we go for round 11. Castle again for Joker.
Yeah, it does seem like we'll see the same strategy brought by Okami. Just keep rocking out with that castle and the unreinforced wall on Games Room into Study. Leaving it instead soft and making a kind of rotate hole through it. Remember last time Okami played this, it was a win for Sinister. They came through and won that round, and yeah, it looks like the same strategy, leaving that single panel unreinforced.
Shield up! 10 seconds to insertion.
Well, I said it was going to be hard to split these two, and I'm at least glad we've been able to see that has come to fruition. 5-5. Definitely can't split them right now. At times it feels like Okami, the way that they win their rounds, may demoralize Sinister a bit, but yet Sinister just keep fighting back and keep coming back the next round. And they don't give up, and they keep trying new things. I mean, even going back to that last round, they didn't really put pressure onto closets. They changed it up, expected something similar from Okami. They guessed correctly.
Bomb located by attackers.
I wonder whether we'll continue to see this aggression from Sinister like in that last round where they looked and saw, hey, maybe we can just get into Astro really quickly. And I feel like it's punishing Sinister as much as it's working for them, because we're ending up with rounds where halfway through, half of both teams is already dead.
It hasn't been a deciding factor though either way. Like, it's both teams have been in those situations where maybe they're missing 2 or 3 players, generally maybe 1 or 2 if you start, but as I said, it hasn't really been determining the rounds as a whole. At times we've seen a team with the low amount of numbers can still come up big towards the end. Jack Dad taking a lot of damage super early on here, minute 40 remaining, as Vince just continues to clear out these gadgets from the first floor.
Once again, very much the bottom-up take that we saw from Sinister on their last attack.
Oh.
No way there was information for Nico there. Surely that wasn't a call. No way. I don't know what happened there, but that's a cheeky pick. Jack Daddy is going to be frustrated about that one, getting a straight-up floor banged.
I mean, they obviously wounded him from that sort of similar vicinity earlier, so must have assumed he was still around the area. Cutie does find Vince though. That might make it hard. There goes the IQ. Can no longer take out these gadgets. Fisher guy pushes in, gets the second one onto Mango's behind the shield. Sinister not playing around now as they continue to push in. Only Joker remains, and he's not even going to be able to find one. Sinister from a 4-5 deficit now have got match point 6-5 here on Villa. The map pick as well of a cup.
Things have turned around, and it's well within Sinister's grasp to take Okami's map pick here. Just one more attack is all they need, but it's been driven all the way to the wire. Okami can't head back to... Well, actually, they can head back to any bomb site they like. They'll go back to Kitchen, where they won previously. The options are there for Okami, and the pressure is really on to hold out. This is their map pick, and we know how much how important it is with this Six Masters best of 2 veto system to win your own map pick. The Sinister aren't playing around. They're going to bring the Dokaibi. It's going to help out with their aggressive pushes, these explosive attacks, even further than so far.
Okami is one of my favorites, so I'm happy to see it here from Derpe. Jack Dad on the pulse though has got my, well, I've got my eye on him and how he plays this round. You go on the offense here if you're Okami and try and roam, maybe try and catch Sinister off guard. Put Jack Dad in a different position, see if you can find someone, find maybe Vince who's starting to clear out gadgets.
10 seconds to go.
Or do you hold him back towards the bomb site until maybe the last 30 seconds or so, play a bit defensive, let Sinister sort of control around the site, but then push out at the last second when they're close. It worked for Sinister when they played that way on one of their attacking rounds, one of their defensive rounds.
Yeah, I mean, for Okami right now, I'm going to be really cautious of the way Sinister are just keen to send it. All these players pushing together this horizontal take right now. Sinister have proven that they don't mind just not having a fully fleshed out plan that involves being super thorough with their util clear or whatever. No, let's just go full send.
And I think it's okay if Sinister play this slow though. You know, you say full send, but the full send doesn't have to be at the 2-minute mark. It can be, say, the 30-second mark or the 1-minute mark. Depending on how long it takes for them to get a bit of control as well on the second floor above, which obviously is going to be pretty easy. And then eventually onto the site itself. And that's what I was saying though for Okami as to how they want to play this. More on site or a bit of roaming potential. Shots do land actually through the floor there onto Jack Dad. Not a lot, but enough. Mangos does find Derpe. That gives them at least an advantage here in the final minute and a half. Match point for Sinister. Without a player now.
Fisher to find one. Vinny taking control of Laundry. Numbers equalized, and that Dokaibi off the board as well with Derpe going down means Sinister are going to have to deal without their X Factor.
Continue this full send at the last second. I think that drone gets caught by Jack Dad. Very low, yet still wants to push through into Memorial. Barbed wire just to his right. Okay. That's not
No
ideal.
way.
Then you immediately lose Jack Dad straight after that. Then lose Mangos, lose the round, potentially. Joker's still alive, full health. Fisher guy is also very low. Won't take much, and he does take him out very quickly. 2 versus 1. It's not impossible. 35 seconds, but from behind and in front, swarmed, finished. The round is over. Sinister have stolen Villa. Oh, a team kill as well. So unfortunate for Okami.
Their own map pick and just thrown against them. Joker, the frustration that must have been present there after that team kill. You can just feel it. For Sinister, though, big challenge that they've overcome. Vinny going massive, 15 and 8. Nico as well to close out that game. Sinister going to be very happy with that one, securing Okami's map pick. Keen and ready to go into their own with the map advantage.
And as I was sort of talking about earlier, and I was saying that if Sinister can win this round going into Kafe, now they've got to be feeling super confident that they can take Kafe, go 2-0 up in this, and take this series. Whereas for Okami, this was their map. This was the map that they should have had maybe that slight extra advantage, that map prowess that potentially we thought Sinister may not have. We were wrong though. They haven't played this map competitive for so long, and yet they still come in 7-5 and take it away from Okami.
Ambitious. Yeah, you're talking about taking Okami to their best map. They were undefeated until LFO conquered them. And, well, that took 15 rounds. This didn't even take overtime. So Sinister got to be pretty happy with that performance. Okami's map pick done and dusted. And now looking towards Kafe, Both of these teams have plenty of odds, particularly Okami. They've played it so many times. I think Sinister is going to be very much ready to take the 2-0 here.
I definitely agree. We're going to go to Kafe after the break. Okami, Sinister. Sinister looking to make it 2-0.
Attackers that were 50 seconds left. 5 seconds remaining. Attackers have dropped. 15 seconds left. Closing back.
Please hold. Your call is very important to us. All operators are busy at this time.
Well, Villa certainly was a war of attrition in the end, going the way of Sinister. 7-5, even though it was Okami's map pick. Welcome back. We are halfway through the second series of the night. Dev, we go to Kafe next. We said that this series was going to be close. Everyone predicted a draw. Now it's, I guess, up to Okami to live up to expectations here and take Kafe.
They haven't lost it so far in the Six Masters. Played it twice, actually. Yeah, just the twice so far. Last time they lost it was in Pro League against Elevate, but they took LFO on this map successfully, took Kanga, even though it took an overtime to get there. Okami, this is home turf for them, but again, the risk that there is a lot of information out there, and Sinister have clearly done their homework going into this game.
Well, 100%. They did their homework coming into this series, right? So they did their homework on Villa, and you'd think that they picked Kafe. They've done their homework on Kafe. And my expectations now for this series shift. You know, I had it as a draw, but I had that because I thought that Okami would take Villa, and I thought Sinister would take Kafe. So if I'm keeping those same expectations, I'm now thinking Sinister take this to nothing, which would be amazing for them considering where they currently sitting on the standings, which is in 6th position. And it just gets them back into that race for top 4 and puts a lot more pressure onto the teams slightly above them, like Okami.
Yeah, very much. And if they do win this next one, they will leapfrog over Okami, and a lot of the other teams as well be really sitting pretty near in the top of the standings. Sinister, look, they have picked Kafe just last week and they lost it to Elevate, so I wouldn't put it past them to drop the ball on their map pick again, so I definitely wouldn't count Okami out just yet.
Speaking of counting, we counted your poll vote earlier on this evening for this series, and well, I thought it was going to be a bit closer than this, but I guess you guys at home definitely know more than I do. 45% for Sinister, and now as we've seen how the first map has played out, this looks probably a little bit more legitimate.
Yeah, I guess so. With that Villa going the way of Sinister, perhaps they predicted that Okami would want to take us there, and that really helped out. Other than that, yeah, Kafe can go either way. Could see it swing. Like I was mentioning before, it might be Sinister's map pick, but they're not undefeatable on it, to be honest. And we've seen losses to LFO and Elevate. Definitely a possibility here for Okami to make a return.
Well, as you said, it may be Sinister's map pick, and they may be one up in the series, but Okami, without a doubt, are going to give it everything they've got here on Kafe. In fact, they've played it twice this season of Six Masters, and both times they did win it. We head into the band phase, and we head into our final map of the night.
See whether we get any hard breaches or Thatcher taken out. Ying, all right. Trend continues for Okami, just going to get rid of that one. I have a feeling it's going to be the Thatcher ban here for Sinister, mirroring what we saw just now on Villa. And indeed, now the defense is where it gets a little bit spicy. Pretty simple stuff thus far, but Okami are a team that really like their Goyo usage, and I've seen some teams ban it against them before. I wonder whether Sinister's going to do that. Okay, never mind. They're just going to go with the tried and true mirror ban. Really try to just prevent the defense from having that in their arsenal and securing some strong anchor positions with it. You know, I guess such is life sometimes. We can't always pray for interesting bans. We get like the most default bans ever.
I would say that actually was an intriguing ban, because usually it's Okami banning out the mirror, and I don't know if you noticed, but they did take a little bit of time there just to think about what their ban was going to be here, because for the first time in 5 maps, they didn't ban Ying and Mirror. They did get their Ying. Mirror was already banned, and then they decided, all right, let's get rid of Echo. I guess he's next in line. That part, yeah, not so interesting.
So I guess for Okami, they just get a bit of a free ban there if they wanted to get rid of the Mirror. Is Fisher gonna 6-pick onto the Monty here? Come on. I know you want to do it, man. No. I saw you pick it just a second ago. I saw him pick it. He hasn't locked in yet. No, he locks in. All right, not going to go for the... All right. Vinny's going to 6-pick the Ash. Okay. Right on. Cool. Bit messy there in the pick phase from Sinister. Not sure what was going on. 2 of them didn't lock in their hot picks, and then there was that last-minute 6-pick. But mentioning that Ash in particular, I like the idea here. Okami, I mentioned that they're so used to playing this Goyo, and they've used it to full effect. Not only do we have the Goyo with his 2 shields, but we also have 2 more shields 1 from Mangoes on the Wamai and 1 from Cutie on the Smoke. Makes a grand total of 4 shields, plus the ADS, which can chew up to 6 projectiles, and the Wamai charges, which can chew up to 7. You get them all out. So bringing that Ash, just a little bit of extra explosive utility, which really rounds us out to a nice 8 grenades or Ash/Zephyr charges, which can destroy these shields for Sinister.
You think Sinister just sitting there during the pick phase and thinking, yeah, we'll just flash the Monty on the screen, get Dev all excited, take a bit longer to lock in our pick as well, get him hyped up, and then we'll just play the old standard.
Maverick just being used to open the soft hatches. I guess if you've got the ammo to spare, why not? If Sledge is busy. No reinforcements on this main wall between Top Red and Piano. Maybe the Sledge is going to deal with that, but Nico's in a different position. Just cautious of this downstairs roam at the moment. There isn't, in fact, anybody down here, but Sinister don't know that until they drone it out, and they do. Drones form down in legions. And Vincere also on the very bottom floor. Joker tempted to go for that flank at bottom white, but oh, it gets punished. He actually does try to go for that. Fisho finds him on the long angle.
I think he might have just been going back upstairs, may have got caught, but you're right, he was there at white stairs pushing down. Not sure if he really was impactful in that exchange though. It's interesting though seeing Sinister attack this, taking first floor, second floor on bar cocktails. Most teams just usually push down top red hatch, cigar, piano, push through. They've got a bit more verticality here on Cafe. Minute 20 seconds. Time for Nico to start making some holes, make some noise as well. Shoots over at Pixel immediately, but no one's peeking it. Just a guy got to try and flush them out. ADS though is going to be able to deny a lot of that utility. Nico does get Ippy style as well. Great timing, well played from Sinister so far here on the attack.
Great fragger down as well, and that's the position on Pixel. Not only flushed out, but the player eliminated. Really furthering this man advantage for Sinister. 50 seconds left, and also to mention, Mangoes is hair's breadth away from falling himself. Cutie wants to find a pick here. He's hoping someone from Sinister will wide peek this, because Okami are thinking right now, we need to find a pick in order to stand a chance in this execute.
Going back to Villa though, and Sinister's attack one of the rounds when it was actually a 5v3, they did something similar to this where they just stall it themselves a bit. Really playing it carefully. Slow peeking a lot of areas on the site, 20 seconds left, and then they'll just push in all at once. Use their numbers advantage to really overwhelm the defense. Smoke's going to come out from Cutie, but they do lose Mangoes. He does, unfortunately, go down due to the fact that he had such low health in washrooms. I don't think Cutie's going to be able to hold everyone off all at once, and in the end, Vince, Nico, and Sinister do take round 1. In style.
Yeah, Vinny with the good old repelling in the window and shooting everybody. Gotta say, Cutie had me worried there for a minute though. Man's been showing up for Okami tonight, and I guess this whole season really. Cutie's been one to talk about, and holding on to washrooms just a bit longer there. Did help thin out the numbers, but Sinister had too many left and not gonna last long.
Warden is something that's a bit different, but immediately 6th pick back over to Valkyrie, which is something a bit more familiar.
Yeah, you know, the funny thing about 6 picking between those two operators is they have the same primary weapon, the MPX. So if you're someone like me who's really nerdy about all the weapon sounds in this game, in prep phase when you're droning around, if you hear someone shoot the MPX, usually I would just call out, all right, they have a Valkyrie, and then you can just tell the other team. But in this case, it could be a Valkyrie or the Warden, and if Okami have teased out, maybe it's the Warden, maybe Sinister are going to think about that. Nonetheless, it doesn't really matter, since the Warden is not really relevant in the current meta when Ying is banned. So, not going to affect Sinister much there, just a bit of fun trivia, I guess, for you.
I like stats.
10 seconds remaining.
Stats are fun. My other co-caster is also a bit of a stats guy, but he's not very good. He's not as good as you, Dev.
Oh, you're talking about old mate Jordan Mays, are you?
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse.
Yeah.
I love Jordan. Ah. All right, enough about my love life. Zippy style, just setting up utility on this top floor. ADS to protect this Goyo shield. Sinister really proved no trouble clearing out this position at Pixel last round, and that was even with the Wamai and his magnets around Piano. Not only did they clear the position, destroy the shield, but also took out Itby Style's head in the process. Itby Style, he's the kind of player who backs himself in these gunfights, though. I wouldn't be surprised if, despite losing in that first round, he's still going to peak aggressively here in round number 2. That's exactly what he's doing.
I mean, you'd love to see that, though, from Epistyle, because Villa really wasn't his map. And he picked up 2 frags in the entire 12 rounds that was played. But yet still feels confident here in Cafe to play these aggressive positions, peeking from Pixel. He's sitting back holding White Corridor for now. 2 minutes and finally entry onto top red. Doesn't pre-fire Pixel this time around.
Oof. Itby pre-firing towards Cigar. Vinny a few love taps backwards again. Sinister start to take control here. Pushed in through Cigar. Itby's actually going to back off. Surprisingly early, uncharacteristic of him, but perhaps he sees that 120 timer. Wait a second, Miko's in the bomb site. What are you doing, mate? You're not allowed there, Joker says as he taps his head.
Not sure exactly how Nico got in there so quietly. Such a quiet manner that no one really anticipated that he was going to be in there. Joker at least caught him out. Hippie Style finds 2, pushing out a Pixel towards Piano stage. That's the aggressive Hippie Style. You said he fell back. He never did such a thing. He kept moving forward. He finds the double. Can't be find the round.
Yeah, I mean, when Hippie Style is on the other team, you just can't not cover your angles. Can't not cover your flanks, because Itby's the kind of player who's always going to feel those out. If he thinks he can get away with something ridiculous, he's going to do it. I would love to see Sinister bring the Nomad to suppress that kind of play. But it seems like they really feel the need to bring all this other utility, especially all of this soft breach, to clear out shields. Funnily, I don't think that's been super impactful, these shield positions. I mean, yes, Itby Style was playing at Pixel, but it wasn't the shield that got him those kills. Sinister didn't even try to address the shield at all. They just ignored it.
Did Vince just 6-pick IQ into IQ?
Yeah, man doesn't, man loves IQ too much. He's like, I should probably play the Ash, but no, I want the IQ. And smart move, because Cutie actually 6-picked onto the Valk from the smoke. So if Vinny had gotten off that IQ, he wouldn't have been able to find those Valkyrie cameras quite so easily.
Would you say it's 200 IQ for Vince on the IQ?
Aha. 200. Yeah, 200 IQ. Would you say that was 200 Valk from Cutie on the Valk?
No, Dev, I wouldn't. Kitchen cooking and service for round number 3. And what I love to see, though, is we're bringing the same competitive environment between these two teams over to Cafe from Villa, back and forth, 1-1. It continues. And really, I mean, Villa, yeah, 7-5. It didn't quite go to overtime. It was just those last 2 rounds that Sinister were able to sort of pull away from Okami just momentarily. Just at the right time, though. Just pipping them at the end of that race. Whereas prior to that, those first 10 rounds, back and forth, either way, and you wouldn't have been able to call it up to round 11 at the very least. 2.5 minutes, round 3. Both teams have looked decent on both their attack and defense here in the first 2 rounds.
Bit of droning happening from Sinister, just trying to clear this top floor and the next floor down as well. We saw Derpe droning down pillars. May have spotted out Joker, who was roaming in reading. I believe he's gone back to the bottom floor now. It looks like, yep, going down red all the way to the bottom alongside Itby Style, and that's 5 players on the bottom floor. Not sure whether those mute jammers were placed up above, but at the moment that is free real estate for Sinister to take. And then, of course, once Sinister do get control of Train and Fireplace and Mining, they're going to open up that floor. Molosky using some Hibana pellets to open the piano hatch to enable a quick drop down into Train. Nico can start working the floor with the sledgehammer once he gets down there, and Sinister can look for these players through the holes and down onto the bomb site. Still a bit worried about these roamers. I think that's the mute jammers doing the job. But they have this control.
Yeah, without much resistance being met from Okami either. I mean, typically mining isn't exactly held with a lot of force. But you might potentially have one sitting around train. The only downside is getting out of train then is very difficult. Still a minute remaining, and this is not too bad from Okami either. So, looks like we may head into this push being roughly around 5v5, unless there's any picks here through the opened up floorboard.
Yeah, or the C4s. Oh, that was cheeky from Cutie. He shot the little bit of soft floor that his C4 was hanging onto so he could get his C4 back. Like that one. We also saw Fisho destroy the Electric Claw so that this hatch can be opened up, but Mangoes opens up the round through the floor with the pick on Derpe. Oh no, Nico can't do that. 30 seconds and they drop into the bomb site.
Oh, it's not picking the right side. It was the right side in the end. Nice peek back though from Nico behind him and then straight through to get Ippy style. It was a little bit sloppy from Nico for a moment, but then he cleans himself up. Joker in a 1 versus 2 as the diffuser goes down, takes a lot of damage. Just slightly above half health. C4 over the top. Doesn't connect at all. One to his left. Are they both to his left? They are. They're actually both onto the diffuser.
Joker now on for the retake. Nico a bit low HP, but both him and Molosca are playing quite close here. He doesn't have these positions, and Molosca is good for that one, holding that angle from prone. Bit of a desperate attempt on the drop in at last minute from Sinister, but it is successful. And they regain that lead here on Kafe.
A lot of it thanks to Nico as well. In that drop down push, as you said, 2 kills. The one behind him being the flick quick style reaction. And then pushing forward, leaping over, finding one more easy style for Nico. 2-1. But back down to Kitchen immediately. To expect back over to the Valkyrie. I think Cutie's done it every single round for now the first 4 rounds. But it wasn't that one-sided of an attacking round. It really was the fact that in the end, Sinister were able to win those clutch 1v1s. Nico was able to make those plays. And you said it actually in that round. They had to just push down the hatch at the last few seconds. There wasn't a lot of time left. Took them a while to get control of train and mining above Kitchen. And couldn't even throw their nades through the floorboards correctly. Like, it wasn't that clean necessarily from Sinister.
Yeah, and it goes to show that just because you do the map clear and you take the control that you need, you open up the floor and you start looking down to kill people, doesn't actually necessarily mean that that verticality is going to work in your favor.
5 seconds remaining.
For the most part, Sinister didn't actually find the picks that they needed, and in fact it was Mangoes who found that first kill through the floor onto Derp. See Cutie actually trying to get some information for his team on this middle floor so we can make some kind of play. Because despite Sinister looking a bit rough there through that mid-round, the later half of that round, they did pull through and get that plant down when it mattered most. That was something that has been a continuing trend for Sinister, which is the ability to explode onto the bomb site and really win out in these 5-on-5, 4-on-4 kind of engagements. They tend to be a massacre of trades.
And I was just looking to see whether or not Okami would send someone at least into the position of mining and train, or at least just hanging around there. It doesn't seem like it. Again, everyone just going to be around Kitchen on this first floor. Which is not too surprising, Dev, I guess, but it does mean they're giving up this second floor super early, super quick. It means that Sinister can have a lot of time where they can open up these floorboards and, well, give themselves maybe 45 seconds or so of just peeking through, see if they can find any picks early on.
Yeah, it really does help play into Sinister's time management. I think that's why Kami are really desperate to find a pick with a C4 through the floor here. It could be really impactful. We could have seen a Vigil picked, and then it would have denied or slowed down the take, denying some of that droning intel. Here's Cutie. Put it to C4, pre-placed. Not sure whether one of his teammates is going to make a call based on a Valkyrie camera, or whether it's just going to be audio. It is just audio, and that's a missed C4, missed opportunity as well.
Still a minute left, but this is playing out similar to the last round, which in the end worked out in Sinister's favor. Nico, second time's the charm. This one does go through, still doesn't find the target. And just like the last round, Sinister still yet to actually find any picks here from this second floor. Looking down into kitchen, 45 seconds remaining. And it was about this point where Mangoes did get that opening pick. We'll see if it happens again.
You had to find any picks through the floor, but that nade did find the electric floor, which enabled the Hibana to open up that hatch, which was pivotal for Sinister taking that last round. Mango's in the aggressive position in VIP, caught between rock and a hard place, players on both sides, but he's not concussed here. Milo finds that opening pick. Fisho gets taken out. Ippy Style good for another one as well. Sinister have this bomb site. Cutie's holding fast. Just Nico and Derp. Fisho on a sliver of HP. The flank is still there. This map control is all for Okami. Derp counted out and just Fisho left, but no time, no lock, and that's Okami to steal that round away.
And probably how Okami would have felt the last round should have gone prior to this as well. And again, we're tied 2-2. Really well played though from Okami, especially when we were watching Mango's point of view. Didn't panic, didn't really rush out, make a bad decision. Didn't have a lot of like visual info, was just going off comms and what he could hear. Tried to get involved, couldn't quite, but yet still didn't just throw his life away running around hopelessly. And that's what Okami were able to do well there. Just respond, hold their ground. And in the end, they did start to find those picks. They did start to win those exchanges, even though Sinister opened it up into their favor. They win this round. And ironically, the round prior to that, Mangoes did find that opening pick. And Okami did have it in their favor, but then Sinister won that round. The opening pick doesn't necessarily determine who's going to go on and win the round itself, especially when you're on the defense and you're still the ones that are holding your position. You're the ones that still don't have to really move too much. Okami played it well. We're tied 2-2.
Yeah, and on top of that, with a couple of rounds past, Okami can head back to library, or reading and dining, fireplace. Oh my gosh. You know, the in-map callouts for this, for the A-bomb side, it's fireplace, for the B-bomb side, it's reading. But in my brain, I always call fireplace dining, and I always call reading library. So it's just another way to confuse you guys, just because. So this bomb site, Okami previously won. It was pretty strong. I think one of the pivotal moments was that Sinister just really struggled to contain this aggression from Okami, especially on this top floor. Ippy Style just wide swung in piano and found two players. It really should have been punished for that, but you know, Ippy Style's always looking to make a play, and if he thinks he can get away with something, he will try it.
I'm just very much enjoying this from the front row seat. Feeling like I'm in the live audience, Dev, watching two gladiators duke it out. And that's the way it was shaping up on Villa for the first 10 rounds until Sinister just happened to get the back-to-back win to get them the map. Just maybe Kafe might play out in a similar fashion. You get to 5-5, someone gets that break point, gets that match point. And then if they can sort of deflect how this series is going in terms of that back and forth style. Ippy Style gets picked. I'm imagining Pixel. It is Pixel. They're the ADS, and now they got White Corridor if they want it, then pushing into washrooms. Bishop did take a bit of damage for that, but they will get this third floor control. They deal with the Roma. And Sinister get the opening hand here. But doesn't spell disaster for Okami just yet.
It's good control for a start. I like this angle from Nico. He can vault over as well. He does. Get inside. Sees that shield. Likely a Goyo shield. Gonna prime a nade, but it being the Wamai on the other side, likely to get caught. And there you go. That magnet. Steal that away. Drone to check out where these players are. A couple of holes in the floor. Nico is so vulnerable to C4s right now. That's an aggressive play from Cutie, but punished. And now that's top floor control for Sinister.
I still don't count Okami out of this for some reason. 45 seconds, it's 3 versus 5. But there's still a lot of work to do for Sinister on this second floor. Not a lot of time. Fisher guy's low. And the way that Okami have been playing this sort of never die attitude, it only takes 1 or 2 picks. Although, as this round continues to just go on, it does make it less and less likely. Mango's only gets 1 for the 2 that was lost.
Oh no.
And, well, unfortunately, they were just picked apart towards the end.
Yeah, wow, and that really started with that top floor take from Sinister. Ippy Style went down without too much of a fight. Fisher got that pick nice and early without even having to clear out the shield. And it is the double-edged sword of peeking aggressively in a position like that. Ippy Style, had he just sat patiently behind the shield, taking an advantageous gunfight only, probably would have delayed a lot more time and forced Sinister to use the utility that they had on his shield. But no, because he wanted to keep going for those peaks, it gave Fisher the opportunity. He was true in his aim, and that just started Sinister off nicely. Not to mention a similar situation where Cutie tried to make an aggressive play out from Cocktail. Once Sinister had that, they had top floor control, hadn't lost any players for it, and just continued to use that man advantage. Overwhelm Okami, but it's not the last chance Okami will have. There's an opportunity for redemption here in the last round of their half to defend Reading once again.
We saw it go to 3-3 on Villa. Obviously now a big potential that it goes 3-3 here on Kafe. Okami have to make sure they don't lose 2 in a row, just like they did at the end of Villa. 4-2 at the half would be amazing for Sinister.
10 seconds left.
There hasn't been a lot of bar and cocktail action here, actually, from Okami.
5 seconds to insertion.
And as we continue on this season of Six Masters, it does,
Attackers are moving.
at least in my point of view, Dev, I'm not sure how you see it, but lose that appeal of being very defender-sided. I think teams have been playing this well from the attacker's side.
Yeah, it's been good attacks. I mean, also good defenses. It's not been exclusive. We've seen basically a trade of rounds here, back and forth, back and forth. Sinister started it off. I mean, if the pattern continues, Okami will take this one.
But I mean, what's
Does
that?
come
Like
down
only one pick for Bar and Cocktail? I mean, I know we're reading Fireplace,
yeah,
but
yeah, just the first round. Very first round Bar and Cocktail. And that was it. And that was won by Sinister, and Okami thought to themselves, I guess we'll just never take that again.
yeah. The thing with reading in Fireplace, though, is it really does open up the verticality. Although we don't see that first floor played as much as we do just in terms of the third floor being taken. Ippy Style gets Molosca, though. I mean, not too much of a surprise. If anyone's going to do it, it's probably going to be Ippy. Still continuing to roam around these white stairs.
It goes to show, it is a bit hit and miss. Ippy Styles had 2 impactful plays from this position in the game, but he's also been shut down, like we saw in the previous round, without really any impact. But maybe it's all that Okami needs to really start strong here. Is that play from, ooh, dangerous there for Nico. Maybe he thought that was a regular shield, not a Goyo shield. He's going to lose 45 HP for that.
Well, speaking about Ippy Style and sort of the roaming, but off the top of my head, how much defense is usually being committed to Cocktail as well? Because that, especially for these second floor bomb sites, is usually, yeah, there you go. Cutie, Mango's both sitting in there. There's a lot more pressure, it seems, on this third floor for this final defense from Okami. May just be catching Sinister off guard a little bit. Although it shouldn't. This is pretty standard, I would say, from what we're seeing from Okami. It's been stars get Joker, can't find the second one to Jack Daddies, who's climbing on through. The trays just ring out back and forth. But Nico's now the last one alive at a 1v3 as the dust does settle. And as the round settles, the half will settle. 3-3, barring Something amazing from Nico. Does have the diffuser in hand, close to the bomb site. The numbers all with Okami. Still even the time with Okami and Waldner. That's a bad place to take a nap and make a few contemplations in the middle of the hallway. Ippy style, open to the round. He closes the round. And we are tied 3-3 once again in this series.
You were saying it near the midpoint in that round. Okami really invested much more heavily in that cocktail presence. And they didn't peek out. Oh, actually, I guess they did peek out really just as aggressively as the previous round. Difference being they landed their shots this time. And I mean, as lazy as that sounds as analysis, sometimes it does make the difference. We still saw Ippy style peeking aggressively as Jaeger. He just happened to find the kill instead of getting killed. And same thing for Cutie playing from cocktail. But there was also notably a Valkyrie camera underneath New Hatch, which was not taken out. And I think it's safe to assume that the information that Okami would have gleaned from that Valkyrie camera was instrumental in getting both of those picks on the top floor and really containing the Sinister attack. So perhaps Vinny should really be having another look there and thinking, man, why was I not in a position as the IQ to take out that Valkyrie camera nice and early and deny that information?
So as we go into the second half of Kafe, Okami switch over to the attacking side. Kitchen first up.
10 seconds to insertion.
Not sure if that was intended by Vince. Second time, it's at least
5 seconds remaining.
the right way to put it. But
Attackers are
again,
moving out to
keep
locate a
touching
bomb
on
and
the
defuse it.
similarities to Villa, but they're there. They're shining through here on Kafe. Close, back and forth in terms of just, we get this round, you get the next round. 3-3 at the half as well, which was the same as Villa. All of it being decided
Attackers located a
in
bomb.
rounds 11 and 12 when Sinister finally pulled away and made it 7-5. Will that play out here on Kafe? We'll have to wait and see. Certainly, you don't want to be going anywhere here as we finish off the last series of the night.
That's it, second half. Just a little bit more to go.
Have you got to be a bit more excited here?
Oh, I'm sorry, mate. Second half. And we're tied at 3-3, Xenox. I mean,
There we go.
this is getting pretty damn close, eh? And it's Sinister's map pick. We saw them take it out over Okami map number 1. I was actually updating my spreadsheet, believe it or not, when you were talking to me. That was,
I forgive you. I forgive you.
Yeah, well, Sinister's going to head downstairs first. And I mean, what you were harping on about in the first half was the lack of bar defenses from Okami. And hey, that seems to be continued, that trend here with Sinister. Opting to go downstairs first, Ippy style, meeting that mute jammer with his drone. And where is that
Oh,
mute device? Is it?
It's a collection.
Yeah. Is that on the other side of that doorway, or is it maybe inside of kitchen? Yeah, I think there's a mute jammer on the floor somewhere in kitchen that must be jamming that up. I can't quite spot it, but oh, I know it was just in, yeah, okay.
Oh,
It
there it
wasn't
is.
on the floor below, it was literally just in fireplace. There you go. Ippy style is going to start mincing up that floor. Also gets rid of the mute jammer. A C4 flies out to find
Attackers
Cutie,
bomb
but
diffuser
doesn't.
has been dropped.
Vinny does get that first kill onto the player. Mangoes picking up Bakery. That's the hard breach taken out. Oh no! And Cutie fails on that refrag.
Big opportunity missed, considering the lack of opportunities that Sinister had in terms of getting frags through the floorboards on kitchen bomb sites in their attacking half. There weren't many. One goes begging there for Okami and Cutie. Ippy style down white stairs. No surprise here, but time to pick up the pace. 35 seconds. Dead goes down. Diffuser right in front of Joker here in Bakery, and picking up his Vince. Going back down is Vince thanks to Joker. 4v3, 24 seconds. Ippy style ready to breach in from one side, Joker from the other.
Cutie's still upstairs. Ippy style just sends it all the way in. But there's no one in the B bomb site. Looking into A now. Spots one towards the closet. Guess the Inja finally finishes him off, but on the reload spots the Jaeger. Doesn't get him yet. Molluska finds 2. All on Joker. Forcing that plant down. It ain't gonna work. Molluska rounds out his round with 3 kills. Makes it a full house with Vinny for the first 2. The Sinister start off their defense quite strong.
Moscow must have had a cheeky Milo during the halftime break. Perked up, ready to go here on their defense. Finds a triple kill. It was a little bit messy though from Okami, I've got to say, in that push. You know, losing mangoes early on, defuse on the ground, bakery. What I did like was Ippy just sort of just rushing into kitchen, seeing what it could find. It would have been better if he had the diffuser. Obviously, these are, you know, just the way things go. That, of course, the guy who hasn't got the diffuser rushes in, and there's no defenders on site, no one even close by. But still, now it's time for Okami to take one back as the series has been going back and forth. And I'd say that it's their turn now to take a round.
Bit of an if-only moment, but yeah, Okami's still very much in this. They're just going to have to change their attacks a little bit and move on to this top floor attack. Sinister going to do something a little bit unconventional. Castle barricades invested on the piano's south window, forcing Okami LFO to either use that utility to clear that castle barricade, or if they try and just melee it, smack it, that 12 times required to destroy it, is every opportunity that Sinister will try and have someone peek from garage or even from bakery. So probably going to need to invest utility to get rid of that castle barricade. The other castle barricade's going to be placed down on the white window. Prevent anyone from cutting off a player pushing up white stairs or playing in the white hallway. Where's that third castle barricade? Is it going to go on this cigar double door for Nico? I think it might be. That's a strategy we've seen reasonably common, and that indeed it is. So this strategy here enables Sinister to play a bit more aggressively, not only through cigar and not be exposed to piano, but also in piano, not be exposed to cigar.
And it also should aim to, I guess, slow down just Okami in general, more so than usual. Top red and hatch, for example, a lot of the utility and pressure you've said around Scar and piano, more so than usual. Look how aggressive Milo is. Ippy and Joker have got to be careful rappelling through that window, or around that window. So try and clear out the ADSs from that position. Oscar's just super aggressive here near piano stage. You said that that's, of course, what the castle's going to be able to enable Molosca to do. Does clear out one drone there. But that presence, and now Okami have got to think. Minute 45 seconds left. They're not going to be able to just take top red, cigar, piano stage really all that easily here. And look at Nico as well on second floor. They've got a lot of control, Sinister.
Yeah, so this is just ready to punish any player from Okami, but in fact, it works the other direction. Joker on this window, not exposed to the angles from Nico, finds Molosca, but that's not really much progress, to be honest. It's one pick, but Sinister still have control of Pixel. They still have Fisher Guy in cigar, ready to wait for someone to peek from top red. It's Ippy style there at the moment. Nico's also ready for this play to repel in. Joker not likely to do it until Pixel has been cleared. Ippy style finds Fisho, makes it more and more likely. Nico wants to stay on this angle to make sure he gets his pick before he backs out, especially as two of his teammates have gone by, but it's just him and two others left to hold it for Sinister.
Yeah, that's like, what, one around White Corridor, one around Cocktail.
Oh,
there goes
man.
Cocktail. There goes everyone from Ippy Style 3. And this is the problem, I guess, if you're playing that Nico position. If everyone dies above you, well, it's a 1v5. You can make your way back up red stairs, but you're going to be met with a lot of angry faces. And I did say, Okami, we're going to take this round. I didn't know they would take it flawlessly, though.
Really came down to not only that first pick onto Molosca, who was playing a piano, but subsequently, I mean, Ippy style just went nuts. Not only does he peek in and take out Fisher Guy, who was favored in the gunfight in Cigar with his shotgun, but he just proceeds to decimate Sinister every step of the way after that.
And again, though, the trend continues in recent weeks, not just in this series and not just this week of playdays, but Bar and Cocktail not quite being the defensive hold many would usually come to being accustomed to. Attackers taking it more than the defenders holding it. Down to reading in fireplace. I'd say this probably suits Sinister a bit
Attackers need to
more,
locate and
considering
defuse bombs.
the fact that they do like to play vertically more than Okami. So Nico holding that second floor angle on the last round. How much pressure, how much are they going to give in terms of a presence in Cocktail as well? And White Corridor and White Stairs.
I really do rate this bomb site. Honestly, I think reading Fireplace is in a lot of ways actually better than the top floor bomb site bar and Cocktail, because like you were saying, you can have that presence upstairs in Cocktail, but once you lose it, it's not the end of the world. If you've killed enough time, maybe a few players,
5 seconds left.
all you've done is just damage the attack that eventually has to execute onto the bomb site. And if they don't clear you, well, then you can utilize that vertical presence to deny plants on the bomb site.
Bomb located by attackers.
I'd imagine Molossa's just going to hold a Pixel then if need be. And it's almost like you're playing in waves. You hold Pixel, then fall back to like White Stairs. And then when you're playing from White Stairs, your teammate in Cocktail. Typically it's only one in Cocktail. We saw actually Okami in their last defense. They had 2 in Cocktail, 1 at Pixel. You see Fisher guy as well moving up for Sinister towards Cigar. But this is the thing, even though it's a second floor site, you can play so defensively on this third floor and making it difficult. It's almost like you've got to take 2 sites to get this win for the attackers.
Yeah, that said, with the presence on the east windows from Joker, I think almost all the players from Sinister have backed off. We still have this here, I think it's the Molosca, right? Yeah, at Pixel, and I think Vinny was still hanging at Cocktail, but Molosca is keen to just back on off. Cautious of the player who's smacking that window. Maybe someone's going to go for a run out. Ooh, a C4 attempted to be tossed out. Not sure where that was. EP Star now taking Pixel. Molosca has to be careful. He can't rotate down White Stairs any longer. Another magnet goes out. EP Star just waiting to cut off this rotation. But these 2 Sinister players, if they want, can just drop down the hatch.
Yeah, and that's what makes this position so strong. It's not the White Stairs, it's the hatch for Cocktail. Yeah, okay, whoever's holding Pixel, White Corridor can fall down White Stairs if desired to. But if you lose that pressure, which is what Joker's trying to do, you just fall back to Cocktail, fall down the hatch. So much time has been wasted from Sinister onto Okami here. There's only 1 minute left. They haven't got really even control of the third floor, let alone the actual bomb site second floor. The only plus advantage is the fact that Okami did get the pick onto Vin. And now they can start to push through. As, of course, really with about a minute left, this is when you tend to see whoever's he Cocktail to fall down anyway, regardless. They've done the job. Now you hold the site. 40 seconds left, and a rush push is coming up for Okami.
Mangoes with the diffuser in hand, throwing a nade out, but a good push there from Fisher gets traded out.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
4 versus 3, 30 seconds still left to go. And Okami are looking for more picks before they can execute. If Style finds one onto Milo, that plant's going down. Another player shut down, but there is a response.
Attackers are
Sinister
activating the diffuser.
can't deny the plant. It's all on the retake for Nico.
He just got tagged, but he didn't know where from. Half health, 1v3. Uses down. Pushing into Fireplace now, but it's immediately fried through the doorway of Joker. And that's going to be 2 rounds in a row now for Okami.
In fact, the first time on Kafe that we've seen either team run away with 2 rounds in a row. Okami switch things into their favor for the first time here. And are just 1 round away from a match point on Sinister's map pick. Of all things, we saw Sinister take away Okami's map pick back there on Villa, 7-5. Mind you, that was a bit of a reverse sweep there. Sinister getting the last 3 rounds after being at a 4-5 deficit. We could see Okami run away with it in a similar fashion here on Sinister's map.
Or potentially, maybe you've already sort of jinxed it here, but similar to Villa, for Sinister, to you come back from a 4-5 deficit one more time.
Right. Yeah.
And what a real kick in the guts that would be for Okami at the end of the night. Imagine you lose the series 2-0, both maps, when you were in a 4-5 position.
Sinister, they do have the options here with the bomb sites. They can go back to kitchen cooking as they will. So far, the only bomb site they've been victorious on, and they've tried all 3 main bomb sites thus far. Failed at Bar Cocktail, went over the library. Reading, I should say. Failed there. They're just going to go back to the tried and true. So Okami should expect this based on that track record.
5 seconds left before.
Some good information gathering here from Sinister, but we know Jack Daddy's pretty thorough with that electronic scanner.
And defuse a bomb.
Hopefully for Okami's sake, he'll find that Valkyrie camera and shut it down before Sinister can use it to execute either a flank or a potential C4 through the floor.
And of the course, the last time we were down in kitchen, chaos ensued. So Ipistar literally just running through from White Stairs all the way towards where actually Vince is currently sitting. And it was completely wide open. Mangoes got picked early with the diffuser over towards Bakery, which doesn't help. But Sinister played it well. They held their measure. They look to kitchen though to get them another win on the board. Try and stop this semi-run, semi-snowball from Okami. It's only 2 rounds. Pretty sure from between both Villa and Kafe. Definitely for Kafe, but I don't know if I don't think either team has won 3 in a row.
Attackers have located a bomb.
I can check that for you. Well, Sinister did to win the last map. It was the last 3 rounds in a row. But
Oh
prior
yeah,
to that,
okay,
nope,
yes.
hadn't been done. Good information here for Okami. This is a great drone spot here. Does get spotted out, but he got some good information. Saw the player in VIP. There's a power position where Mango's played it previously for Okami. This is a good map control taken. Jack Dad's going to be searching for utility on that scanner. Where was that Nomad charge that got detonated? Air jab. Person tempted on the flank here. Joker's going to go chasing it. It was the Legion of Nico on the other side.
1 minute left. Cutie injured, should get picked back up. The fight yet another day. Ipistar gets an opening frag for Okami. Pressure mounting onto Sinister, although Okami haven't got a lot of time on the clock. Between the overall scoreboard at 4-5 and now 5-4 in this game in terms of players left alive, Sinister are on the back foot. And they fall back onto the bomb site into kitchen. Mango's pushing straight in through prep onto the site. It does have the diffuser in hand as well. Doesn't want to go down. Plays it careful as he clears it out.
Great angle there covering the flank for Jack Dad. Punishes Nico on that aggressive push, and thanks to Mangoes, the angle into the bomb site, the avenue has been opened. He's going to force down this plant. Can Sinister retake? Vinny finds 2 kills. Covered though by Jack Dad. That plant goes down. 2v2 in the post plant for Molosca and Vincier.
He said Vinny's found 2 kills. He's going to have to find 2 more. He does have Molosca though as his partner in crime. Mangoes is low. Jack Dad needs to try and at least cover him. Make it come down to the seconds remaining. Don't have to peak too early. Molosca pushes in maybe too early. Still 23 seconds left. Vinny found 2 before, needs to find 2 more. But this time he did lose his partner in crime. And Jack Dad holds the great angle. And that's going to be 3 rounds in a row now for Okami. And they're on match point.
Slow but steady wins the rate. You could see how thoroughly Okami played that round. Always ever cautious of their flanks. Once they found that opening pick onto Fisho, they didn't let up, continuing to cover that flanks, ensuring that Sinister couldn't execute any way to get back in the lead. Noticing Nico in particular attempting to flank Bakery, Jack Dad was perfectly prepared for that. On top of all of that, Okami ready to just open up that Bakery wall using the Maverick trick and I believe a Zephyr charge to open up an entrance, force that plant down and play this game on their terms. It's match point here for Okami on Sinister's map pick. Very close to seeing us end 1 map apiece.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Yeah, we had some interesting matchups for Playday 7 and Playday 8. Last night, LFO and Pittsburgh Knights we thought would be super close. It ended up being super close because it was 1-1, but the matches themselves were quite one-sided. And yet, maybe just another series where we thought the matches and the maps would be close, along with the series being close. But I think in this case, especially if Okami take this out 7-4, it's just a matter of, okay, we win this map, we win this map, and that's the major close point between the two teams. But a lot of that's been in the second half. Well, it has, but so was Villa for the first half too. When it was 3-3, it was all nice and close. It was all snugly close. Same thing here on Kafe, but for whatever reason, after the half, it does open up a little bit for, well, I guess on Villa's sake, it was Sinister. And on Kafe's sake, it's been Okami.
Yeah, you're not wrong, actually. Sinister in the second half of Villa really ramped up their attacks, and we've seen the same pattern here for Okami. The Sinister are just going to keep on moving bomb sites. Can't do bar, can't do library. All right, try kitchen again. Nope, that doesn't work. All right, let's just give bar another crack and see how we go with it. Last time Sinister played this, I did get the opening. Wait a second. I wrote Derp killed Milo. That doesn't make sense. It was Joker who killed Milo. I don't think that would have happened. No team kills here. Last time, they tried to do the really extended strat with all the castle barricades. Looking to continue the trend here, but hopefully won't just let it be style proceed in for a 3K.
Throwing frag!
I mean, he didn't necessarily just sort of stroll in. They took their time, tried to clear out a lot of the ADSs. And Molosca was still sitting around Piano stage in that round. This time also playing around Cigar Lounge, but he did eventually get picked out. And as you said, yes, was in fact the first one to go down. He has to be careful that he isn't the first one to go down here again. Does have Vince though sitting at Pixel to watch him, and immediately you can see in the kill feed 2 quick kills in favor of Sinister. 4-3. Depe from Cocktail is going to spot over towards top red. Diffuse is going to go down. Mango's losing that. And, well, maybe, just maybe, Sinister may not lose the round or the map just yet.
Just all the util wasted from Okami, still trying to find this player of Milo who's been a headache for Okami to deal with. He's just sitting there shooting drones. That's his job. Sit there and shoot drones. And it's worked to perfection thus far. Cutie walking into a crossfire, exposed to 3 different angles, all the way back as well to Derpe, the doc, and a player underneath. Man, Cutie's put under the pump. Impact grenade is also going to tag him up a little bit. He just wants to kill Milo finally. Jack Daddy does it. Another player at Pixel. Cutie's got to be cautious of, but Jack Daddy's on the hunt.
Oh, Jack Daddy repelled in like a superhero. He keeps following it up through White Corridor, takes out Vince sitting at White Stairs. He did lose Cutie though. Cutie was the clutch player from Villa. Hasn't quite been able to translate it over here onto Kafe. And 1 versus 2 now Jack Dad, but he is low. And now he's dead. And Sinister take the round in round 11. And we go to 5-6.
That was really one in the early stages of that round. Sinister made some changes from their previous strategy to hold Piano. And I think the main thing was Molosca, who was the first pick the previous round. He got really aggressive and played... Well, actually, I don't know if aggressive is the right word, because while he was playing in a really conventionally aggressive position right under that window near that minibar, he wasn't peeking at all. He was never giving the attackers an opportunity to shoot him, to actually get the kill. But what he did do was shoot drones every time Okami tried to get information on what was happening in Piano, how many players are in there, what angles are they holding, how can we try and take them out. Every time he would shoot those drones, they tossed in about 1 million flashbangs onto him as well. They still weren't able to flush him out. And while they were so tunnel visioned on that single player, frags came out the other direction. Players like Nico able to find kills. And that's put Sinister within arm's reach of going to overtime.
Certainly has, but it's also put them back onto the second floor bomb site, Reading and Fireplace, rather than Bar Cocktail, which hasn't been working out for defenders recently. So now you get the arguably better bomb site, at least in recent history. So you had your mixed bag, mixed result bomb site go your way. And now, I would say Sinister are more favored to tie this up 6-6. Okami have got the work cut out for them here on this round. Round 12.
5 seconds remaining.
Of course, it's going to come down largely to this cocktail presence, this top floor presence from Sinister. No Goyo shield. We do have one deployable shield from Molosca, likely placed either at cocktail or at pixel. Judging by the really extended hold here from Fisho, there might be some kind of presence in cocktail. Oh, sorry, in cigar. No, apparently not. As the deployable shield is in fact in cocktail. Vinny's making himself some holes in that minibar. Really tough angle to challenge for the attackers. So it is mostly a cocktail-centered hold. Ippy Style uses an Ash Charge to get rid of the castle barricade at the white windows, so Sinister might have to be cautious of that. Joker, if he repels on these east windows, that's another thing they're going to have to be really careful of.
We don't want to rush in here. You don't want to rush in blind. Molosca, though, is playing safer. You know, typically, you'd see him push up to, say, pixel.
A bomb has been located.
Sitting further back, closer towards Cocktail, closer towards Vinny. Maybe expecting Okami to try and rush in from that third floor from Piano. But now that they know that he's not in pixel, it should be a lot easier. Ippy Styles just starts clearing out the balcony. Oh, he's going to find an easy one here onto Fisho. I'm not sure why standing in that position when you don't really have a lot of presence around Cigar. Or even Pixel for that matter. So there's not much really for Okami to do around this area of the map besides just clear out gadgets, make their way over towards Cocktail slowly but surely. And it seems like Vince has already dropped down. I may be wrong, but didn't see him in Cocktail.
And all this utility upstairs from Sinister, it might be giving Okami a bit of a headache, but as you mentioned, with Vince here dropping downstairs, might mean that this utility is really supporting no one. And in fact, yeah, it looks like all of the players, Molosca included, have back downstairs. Ippy Star's going to drone that out, Cutie as well. And that's full top floor control for Okami. But the next question is the C4 game. Can Nico find a C4 kill through the floor? Maybe thin out the numbers. As it's still in the pocket. Got to be cautious here.
50 seconds remaining though. 4 versus 5. Match point in favor of Okami. We've got the 5 alive and we'll now make it a 5 versus 3. Ippy Style has found a double kill in this round. He's come up clutch. And they need their entry fragger to find them. He does, as requested. And a lot of this coming from this third floor control, the cocktail control. That's why teams usually put a lot of pressure here in these rounds. I think getting that Fisher guy pick, it forced Vince to come down a bit earlier. And that's backfired now heavily for Sinister. They're going to allow this plan to go down. They're going to have to play the retake. And watching the doorway, Joker takes down Molosca. Nico follows immediately after. Their piece in a 1 versus 4. He does get one, but immediately... That's one way to go. The Claymore from Jack Dad. Okami take Kafe 7-5. The series as a whole goes 1-1. Fair. Both teams taking a map each.
A really stellar second half for Okami. Almost, well, very convincing to say the least. Ippy Style showing up hugely for them, finding those entries when it was needed. 13 kills for the man. Great job on that game across the board. I also want to mention Joker there. I think he was an outstanding player for Okami. Really, I was impressed by him always taking in a contrasting position to the rest of the team. He would often repel on those east windows when the rest was pushing west, and really you can't undervalue those air jabs as well. Great stuff from across the board. Okami, a great team effort, and well, they won Sinister's map pick.
I mean, they both won each other's map picks, right? Like, they both stole the maps, and I'm pretty happy with the draw. I mean, in the end, I did think that we'd see Sinister take out Kafe. Obviously, wasn't to be, but at the end of the day, in terms of results, you know, you look at the snowball predictions. Pretty much everyone said a draw. The poll votes were pretty split. I don't think anyone's really surprised that it's a 1-1. More so just that Okami didn't win Villa and Sinister didn't win Kafe.
Yeah, I've got a stat for you. In that game, every single, in Kafe specifically, every single time the attackers got the plant down, they managed to convert it to a round win. And I think that also emphasizes how important it is for players like Mangoes, who were consistently playing very much supportive roles. So they were droning in players like Ippy Style early on, who were enabling those frags. In the mid-round, Ippy Style, Mangoes was doing things like opening up the walls that were needed when he was playing the Maverick. And then every time they got the plant down, and that was really what secured the round. The last 3 rounds that Okami won were all plants. So you can't really undervalue how important it is to get that diffuser down and have that person on your team who's a dedicated carrier and ensuring that they help the rest of the team take the round the full distance.
Yeah, and it continues to sort of highlight on Kafe that it's not as defender-sided as maybe it appears to be. The attackers are able to get in. And despite, it's interesting because you think that second floor, you kind of said maybe that actually might be the more preferred defensive bomb site, considering you've got to take Cocktail, you've got to take, White Stairs area, that third floor control that you've got to get takes a lot of time clearing all of that out. But then if your Fisher guy just kind of standing there and Cigar Balcony is like in your sight line, that was probably one of the very rare misplays that we saw in this series where everyone played really well. Both teams played at a high level, back and forth on Villa. We touched on it in that series where it was 3-3 in the first half of Villa, 3-3 in the first half of Kafe. But then that second half switch, that's where we saw whoever switched onto their attacking side, so Sinister on Villa and of course then Okami on Kafe, ran away with it a little bit.
Yeah, and you know what? Another thing great about tonight, another really attacker-sided night of Rainbow Six, and all these people saying that the defense is super stacked with Wamai and Jaeger and whatever, just attackers have totally got this down. And yeah, I've been super impressed by what we're seeing by these teams. Kafe was a real treat, especially that first half, just trading rounds back and forth, back and forth. For me, the story of tonight was a lot of adaptations. We saw it especially from Wildcard in the first map. I know they weren't really challenged by Kanga, but that just gave them an even more of an opportunity to demonstrate their excellence at adapting from round to round. We saw the same thing from Sinister and Okami, figuring out what are the weaknesses that they can exploit. Sinister very much, once they realized that the aggression from Okami was punishing them, they started to counter that. And Okami also did that when they were on the attack as well.
I think for me tonight, it's just been I love your fascination with stats. It makes me happy that you're happy, Dev. So, but more importantly, just that Okami and Sinister lived up to the bill, lived up to the expectations. I think it's like if we could take the first half of Villa combined with the first half of Kafe, I think you've probably got one of the best then full rounds of Siege for Six Masters this season because it was just back and forth. The 3-0s in terms of winning 3 rounds in a row, both came in those second halves. And that's where if you were to then take those 2 second halves and combine them together, then that would also then technically combine for also a really good series. So while it's 7-5, 7-5, and the matches and the maps themselves weren't that close, Okami Sinister definitely lived up to the billing.
Yeah, great stuff. I mean, been hugely impressed. I also like that we've had really contrasting strategies from both these teams. It's been a real treat.
We do have our first interview for this second series between Okami and Sinister, none other than Jack Dad.
Hey lads, how you doing?
How's it going, Jack Dad? Just give us your thoughts at the end of that series. Very hard fought, especially those first halves on both Villa and Kafe.
Yeah, they were tough games. Sinister, very worthy opponent. Glad we took a map off each other, I guess. But yeah, with this banding system, I guess it's hard to go 2-0 either way.
Yeah, and I've got to say, you guys really pulled together on Kafe, which was in fact your opposition's map pick. There were a lot of VODs from you guys. You played it quite a few times. You were pushed really hard by Kanga to that map as well. Maybe take us through what happened on Kafe, because it was Sinister's map pick. Maybe you would think that they would be stronger on that one, but you guys dived ahead there. What was the deal?
Yeah, look, I think we got the map picks opposite because I felt it, at least our team felt a lot more comfortable on Kafe than we did on Villa. I mean, yeah, Villa against them. So yeah, I guess the roles are a bit reversed. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we just played a better Kafe.
Well, I mean, that sort of brings me to my question here. You've picked Villa twice now in recent weeks, and both times you've come away with a bit of a loss here. Do you still feel confident on that map? Is it just a matter of, okay, both of them were very close. Of course, against LFO it was 7-8, in this case 7-5, but is it something we're going to keep seeing from you guys going forward, or is it maybe time to abandon ship?
Oh, can't tell you that. The other teams are listening. But we're still like changing stuff up on it. Hopefully, we're still working to improve it a lot. We've got coaching staff and analysts helping us now, which is really good. Shout out to James. He's been helping us out a lot and sent us. So yeah, we'll keep pushing for it, and you might see it or you might not. Depends on who we're playing.
Just one final question though. I mean, a lot of people thought coming into this series it was going to be super close. Both teams could have gone either way. Draw. Did you get the same feeling coming into it?
Yeah, definitely. What again with the map veto system? Even though it didn't work out this time that we each got the map that we wanted as a win, it's very hard that each team gets to basically pick a map that they like. So yeah, draws would come out a lot in this series, and as you've seen, they have.
All right, thank you very much, Dad. Best of luck next week against
Thanks,
Wildcard.
guys.
I think you pretty much summarized that to a T, Dev, especially with the way that the map veto system works and teams being able to have a lot of draws, which we've seen this season of Six Masters.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, Okami came out and demonstrated that they can come back from a deficit after losing their own map pick. Funny to hear Jack said that they felt more comfortable on Kafe, even though they'd lost that quite a few times so far in the season, and they felt more comfortable than on their own map pick. And well, they're going to need that strength to then go up against Wildcard next week. I think that's going to be a big challenge for them, but definitely they can step up to the plate.
100%. I mean, obviously for Okami, you don't want to give away strats or strategies, or you also maybe don't want to just give up on something because it's not worked twice. But it is, I think, a valid question for Villa now. Both times they've picked it, they've lost it, and it's not a map that's picked often. They're the only team that apparently wants to play Villa. I mean, LFO did pick Villa in that round, so it wasn't technically their pick. So I guess between LFO and Okami, they apparently like Villa and no one else does. But do you think personally yourself that we'll see it from them again going forward?
Probably not. The fact that there's also the two VODs out there from Six Masters now does mean that every time they play it, their strategies get a little bit exposed and other teams can then counter-strat them. So I wouldn't be surprised if they let that one slide. But again, it's difficult to tell. It's going to be really contextual depending on what team they're facing against and whether they've done a lot of research into that team. Maybe they're going to pick one of their opponents' maps that they know are good at and they've done lots of VOD research on. It's very, very situational.
Well, Sinister, of course, they had their map win on Villa. We've got Miloska for the interview from them.
How you doing, guys?
How's it doing, buddy? Congratulations, firstly, on the play that you guys had on Villa, especially that second half. You guys looked amazing, but Kafe in that second half then sort of ran away from you guys. Give us your thoughts, I guess, maybe a little bit on both maps here for tonight. Very close series.
Well, on Villa, we're pretty happy with our performance. It was... we just performed really well, played pretty proactive, ended up, retaking ground, using our heads essentially and crawling things back when things were looking grim and keeping things strong when things were keeping strong. So what ended up happening is we tried to ride the wave over the Kafe, and unfortunately it ended up us sort of over-aggressing here and there and making a lot of plays we shouldn't be doing that. Just minor mistakes here and there that cost us the map. TBD are that team, where all those minor mistakes, they'll punish you at every turn, and that's something that we just have to work for.
So with that map win, you're currently tied for points with Knights and LFO, and Okami have then jumped up again above you guys. You're still really fighting for that fourth place. How do you feel like you're tracking, and are you on track to take out one of those top 4 spots on the rest of the season? And which opponent you may be cautious of the most?
Well, at the moment, we're pretty confident with taking fourth. We've taken on, what would be considered some of the best teams first in the seeding. We've got Wildcard, Beb just way ahead at the moment, way up the top. We took a map off Elevate, which is something that we really crucially needed. We've taken on TBD now. Great team, very aggressive, but also very well coordinated for that sport, with what that is worth. But going forth in the series, I think, honestly, taking on LFO, Ferrex, and Kanga, I feel like, we're feeling pretty confident. We've taken on the teams that we were most threatened of, to be pretty brutally honest. And we're just riding the wave now, and we're going to be bringing a good performance on the future.
Before I let you go, bud, you've now played, I don't know if you realize this, you've now played every single map except for Consulate tonight after Villa. And obviously Consulate is an insta-ban for you guys from what we've been seeing this season. Do you pride yourselves as a team on having a decent map pool and knowledge on all of the different maps besides, I guess, Consulate? Or what's also the second question in this first question, what's the reason with banning Consulate all the time?
We got a feel into every map. I'd honestly say as a team, we like to keep well prepared on almost everything to account for all the unexpected pullouts from other teams, that they might be really good at, and it just keeps us really flexible and keep our our veto system viable for whatever comes in our way. Honestly, the information with Consulate, we love Consulate. Like, we honestly play it a lot as well. We just haven't brought it out. Anyone out there scared? Yeah, we love all our maps. We pride on making sure that we do every map that we can.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, bud. Best of luck next week against Kanga.
Thank you very much. Have a good one, man.
Look, Consulate's a fun map. A lot of teams like it. Not sure if Sinister's one of those teams, though.
I don't know. Didn't you hear him, Xenox? I love that you're always asking the hard questions. Like, every one of these interviews, you're asking these guys to reveal their stat book and just hold it up to the camera.
We want the facts. We want to get straight to the source information here, okay?
I love it. I love it. Oh, you'll make some friends in this scene with that attitude. I like it. So, I mean, that was good insight, I reckon, from these teams. And I mean, Jack Dad did point out that, yes, the map ban system where you only get one ban before the picks come out does kind of make draws more likely, because teams are more likely to pick a map that they're strong at, and then you'll have teams win their own maps. But this is the second week in a row where we've had series where that doesn't happen. In fact, the opposite happens. You have a draw when teams win each other's maps.
Yeah, I know. Definitely watching from last week that occurred. And while we didn't quite see it as much last night, now we see it here. And in saying that, probably shouldn't be too surprising, I guess, all that much, just simply because of the fact that, we've seen, Okami do well on Kafe. They won it twice. They beat LFO, they beat Kanga. And for Sinister, obviously the Villa one was the more surprising of the two, right? But they just said they feel in the zone. Sometimes you're just in that zone, something switches, you switch half and you just wake up on the right side of the bed and you just play a really good game of Siege, and ended up taking that 7-5 against Okami. So overall, to recap that, I think that both teams walk away, I guess, happy with something in some way, and maybe upset with something in some way.
Yeah, let's have a look at what happened tonight. Kanga really struggled, got 2 rounds against Wildcard, but Wildcard running away strong, coming up really well at the moment in 6 Masters. I think it's really great for all the Wildcard fans. We can have a look at how that's affected the standings. Sinister and Okami did draw, and Wildcard sitting at 21 points all the way at the top there.
Yeah, and they're running away with it now, and their chances of making top 4 almost solidified if they can have another really solid week next week, which I'd say is a high chance that they are going to actually be playing Okami. So, and it was actually one thing I brought up tonight was that off-air prior is that all of the teams that played tonight, they're actually going to play someone from tonight next week. They all just kind of swap teams.
Yeah, swap opponents, and I mean, it's going to make for some good matches next week. Oh, looking at what am I most excited for? Well, Sinister Kanga. I would love to see Kanga get back in the game, but I've got to say Sinister's probably going to take that one. A couple of grudge matches. I think Wildcard versus Okami is going to be a real treat to watch. So that's probably my pick for next week. It is the current top 2 teams in the standings as well. So really exciting. And then the following week, we've got Elevate Wildcard, which will also be a crazy good game. So I'm really looking forward to the coming weeks. We've got all of these really top level stuff coming up for you in the next few weeks of 6 Masters.
Certainly. And I mean, this week was awesome as well, yesterday and of course today. Dev, any sort of final thoughts, I guess, to round out this week of 6 Masters?
I mean, even if it's really tough and Kanga doesn't win a map, only wins a few rounds, we still get a Spruce interview at the end of the day. And that's really what matters. Thanks to Wayne Man for his time with Rainbow Six. He's retiring now, and he will be missed, but I'm sure he's on to great things. Other than that, great to see Wildcard in top form. Sinister and Okami also going strong. I'm just pumped for next week.
Certainly so. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, voting along at home. Thank you as well to Dev for carrying me these last 2 days into my entry into Siege. It's been an absolute blast. It's been amazing. Of course, 6 Masters will be back next Tuesday. Make sure you don't miss that.
No thoughts left in my head. My mind's on